Ahí me tiene trabajando el tío Salo el día de hoy. No lo puedo creer, porque en realidad hoy es día festivo en Estados Unidos. Es Memorial Day. No sé cuál de todos los días es donde celebramos a toda la gente que creo que es lo de los soldados. No tengo ni puta idea, honestamente. Pero, güey, no eres muy gringo. Bienvenidos al canal, mis estimados. Vamos a tener un casino el tío Salo rápido. El día de hoy va a ser diferente. Vamos a enfocarnos solamente en criptos, en chinga. Y la razón por qué es porque las bolsas están cerradas en Estados Unidos y es lo único que traíamos, ¿no? Volteamos a ver la bolsa y también cripto. Entonces, vamos a jugarle con el buen cripto, por supuesto. Entonces, ahorita les vamos a dar todo eso. Pero antes de todo eso, quería darles una reflexión. Este fin de semana vino un amigo, fui a una empresa bastante potente que vende digamos, a un consumidor que es un consumidor duro en Estados Unidos, ¿no? Potente. Y estábamos cenando y me estaba contando bueno, se volteó y me dijo, ¿cuándo van a declarar una recesión? Necesitamos que lo digan. Se me hizo muy interesante, porque había platicado con este amigo antes de los aranceles, ¿no? Porque me estaba diciendo que toda su junta de consejo le estaba diciendo, güey, tenemos que subir los precios de todo, vienen los aranceles, nos va a costar más todo. Y ahora, la primera pregunta con la que abrió es, ¿cuándo van a declarar recesión? Necesitamos que declaren recesión. Y le digo, ¿cómo fuimos de vamos a subir precios a necesitamos que declare una recesión? ¿Qué pasó? Y dice, güey, la gente no está gastando nada, nada, están dejando de comprar. Y le digo, ¿subieron sus precios? Me dijo, ¿cómo vamos a subir precios si no podemos vender lo que tenemos? Y están entrando en ese problema, ¿no? Y no se trata tanto de eso, es un poco lo que dice todo, pero es muy interesante la psicología humana. Es muy interesante si nos ponemos a observar ya de un poco de afuera, ¿no? Voltea a ver a los humanos como otra cosa, sepáralos un poco, solamente para este ejercicio. Y ve lo interesante que es esto. Le dicen a la gente que en sí, vamos a pensar básicamente, ¿qué es una recesión? ¿Qué es una? Son una economía mala, una economía débil donde a la gente le está yendo de la verga, ¿no? Y luego, como nos enseñan en la escuela o en donde estés aprendiendo, que son, no, es que tienes que seguir estas métricas y estos números que son creados por nosotros para saber si son una recesión. Y esos números no importan porque si decimos que no va a haber, que no es recesión como en el 2022, no es recesión, etcétera. Todo el mundo está confundidísimo. Todo el mundo, todo el mundo. Les voy a decir algo que pasó en, en, en la última vez que la economía estuvo de la verga. Habían varias cosas en común con ahora. Uno, a la gente no le alcanzaba para vivir, pero la razón por qué era diferente. La razón por estoy hablando del 2008, nada más se las quería armar de pedo, pero no creo que tenga sentido esconderlo. Del 2008. En el 2008, la gente no tenía dinero. Y en el 2008, la gente estaba desempleada, ¿no? Pero al mismo tiempo, güey, con $50 la librabas, cabrón. No te costaba, todo costaba la mitad menos. Todo. Y aún así a la gente no le alcanzaba, no tenían trabajo. Pero ¿cuál era el punto de eso? A la gente no le alcanzaba, ¿no? Cómo llegó ahí es diferente. Es como poder llegar a una ecuación de matemáticas, regresar, llegar al mismo resultado con diferente proceso. Es básicamente eso. Es lo que quiero llegar con esto. Porque es muy interesante que en el 2008 no nos alcanzaba para nada cuando todo estaba baratísimo. Cuando teníamos la menor cantidad de casas y edificios comprándose. Fue la época que yo aproveché porque a nadie le alcanzaba a comprar todo lo que estaba en descuento. A nadie, a nadie. Y hasta bajaron los tipos y todo, y aún así a la gente no le alcanzaba. Más allá de eso, podía sentir también, el gobierno aguantó y no le dijo a nadie que estábamos en recesión hasta el 2000, casi 2009. Y esto es otra cosa que se le olvida a la gente. Y en lo que nos habían dicho, güey, es que estamos en una recesión o no estamos en una recesión, todo el mundo decía que no. Y la tele te repetía, no, 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 no. Lo soltaron cuando empezó a quebrar todo lo que es el apalancamiento en el sistema financiero, que todos ahora conocen como lo del subprime mortgage financial crisis, ¿no? Que fue lo de, no fueron las hipotecas, Alejandro. Había muchas mujeres que trabajaban en burdeles que compraron muchos departamentos y por ende todo otro. No, no. Es parte de. Qué irresponsables estas mujeres que trabajaban en burdeles, que por cierto tenían todo el dinero y estaban comprando todos los departamentos. Es como si el día de hoy la gente que estuviera en OnlyFans ganara mucho dinero y tuvieran todas las casas. ¿No? Todo se repite, es un círculo que se repite, nada más los personajes y las circunstancias cambian, pero los resultados son lo mismo. Y quien se da cuenta de esto va a ganar primero el juego. Los que no se den cuenta de esto van a continuar en ese círculo como si se los tuviera, cuando le jalas al excusado y que te está llevando, llevando, te va a llevar el excusado. Pero si te das cuenta, en la primera vuelta te vas a detener y decir, ok, no voy a dejar que me lleve el hoyo del excusado, cabrón, no lo voy a hacer, no voy a caer en esto el día de hoy, ¿no? Verga las analogías. Y bueno, para no hacerles el cuento largo, 2008 a la gente no le alcanza para vivir. 2008 tenemos la peor cantidad de transacciones, las menores cantidades de transacciones de gente comprando casa, comprando inmuebles, ¿no? En Estados Unidos. 2008 tenemos la mayor cantidad de gente que está hundida en deuda. En el 2008 tenemos todo lo que fueron los coches completamente desplomarse de valor también y toda la gente que estaba atrapados, porque recuerden que antes del 2008 hubo una burbuja, ¿no? Que hizo que todo se pusiera carísimo. Y en el 2025 es idéntico. Simplemente cambió un poco el escenario. A la gente no le alcanza para nada, nada. No les alcanza para nada, porque las cosas están caras. Entonces, con eso ya lo vemos. Ok, es diferente este escenario, pero el resultado es el mismo, ¿no? La gente dice, güey, pues no estamos vendiendo casas. Es porque los precios están muy altos. Cuando estaban bajos tampoco estábamos moviendo casa en el 2008. El resultado es el mismo. La ecuación es diferente para poder agregar salsa a este platillo, para que sea sorpresa para todo el mundo que no está poniendo atención y que se lo está llevando el excusado para abajo. Les quiero enseñar algo divertido. Les voy a poner acá, no sé por qué no lo había compartido, un segundo. El dólar. Ya saben que me encanta el DXY, ¿no? Este es el DXY. Esto es el 2008, hasta acá estamos en el 2025. Quiero que vean esto. De acá, ¿esto cuándo fue? El 2005, ¿ok? Y cayó hasta acá. ¿Cuándo? Marzo del 2008. Ahora, quiero que vean una cosa. Espérenme un segundo, quiero ver si está compartido esto. Sí, voy a hacerme todavía más chiquito. Quiero compartir esto con ustedes. Déjenme ver si se ve. Sí. Cuando declararon que, bueno, cuando dijeron que fue, que estábamos en que una vez que declararon que estábamos en recesión, se voltearon y dijeron que la recesión empezó en diciembre del 2007. Acá lo pueden ver. Empieza el 2007 hasta el 2009. ¿Ok? Es lo que es la gran recesión. Ahora, 2007. Diciembre del 2007. El dólar ya estaba aquí abajo. Todo esto nada más fue el periodo donde declaran la recesión. Ahora, hasta acá, hasta septiembre del 2008, hasta esta zona, el S&P 500 estaba en máximos históricos. Hasta aquí, en el fin del dólar cayéndose. ¿Ok? Julio del 2008. ¿Qué fecha creen que sea esta? Y ahí les va. Aquí abajo lo pone. Marzo del 2009. ¿Y qué fue esto? La bolsa hizo un menos 50%, 70% cayó como loca en lo que subimos de acá abajo para acá arriba. ¿Ok? Ahora, interesante. Volteas a ver cuánto mide este movimiento. Este es el movimiento más agresivo de todos, un 23%. ¿Ok? 23%. Quiero que se acuerden de eso. Del 2005 al 2008. 23%. Los quiero traer más para acá. Quiero que vean esta. ¿Qué fecha es esta? COVID. ¿Ok? El dólar en lo más, todo estaba acá. El S&P 500 estaba hasta arriba. Luego llegamos hasta aquí abajo, en abril. Fue en enero del 2021. Fue el fondo. ¿Ok? De esto. Y aquí la bolsa empezó a subir como loca hasta acá, hasta esta zona. La bolsa, en lo que el dólar subió, subió con ella. Y después, cuando el dólar llegó hasta acá arriba, ¿qué fue esto? Fue la recesión que no existió una vez que el dólar llegó ahí arriba. ¿Ok? Desde ahí arriba, la bolsa ha perdido, el dólar, 15%. En COVID, el dólar, perdón, un segundo. El COVID, el dólar cayó 13%. Estamos ya en una caída más grande que la de COVID en cuanto al dólar se refiere. Y mucha gente no comprende una cosa sencilla. Cuando hablamos de recesión, de tiempos malos, cuando el dólar es débil y tienes este tipo de movimiento para abajo, y estamos viviendo eso donde el euro está para arriba, aunque si pones atención, si pones atención que tiene sentido y dices, güey, Europa está en la mierda, no hay manera de que vayan a crecer más que Estados Unidos, Japón, la Gran Bretaña y todo esto. Pero ¿por qué sus monedas están más caras? No es que el dólar vaya a desaparecer, esta es una retórica estúpida, el dólar es la base de todo. El dólar se tiene que devaluar menos simplemente por cómo está configurado en el sistema financiero. No lo puedes devaluar más que el peso o devaluar a través de largo tiempo, es imposible, porque todo está comprado en dólares, etcétera. Yo sé que les cuentan muchas cosas y si quieren creer todo lo que les están contando, como el que no estamos en recesión, muy chido. Bien, pero estamos en una recesión, ya. Y la pregunta es cuándo la van a declarar. Y es la cosa. Y lo divertido, lo más divertido de todo esto, absolutamente más divertido de todo esto, es en el 2008, cuando todos sabíamos que estábamos en la mierda, los medios negaban que estábamos pero negaban a pecho abierto que estábamos en recesión. Y una vez que lo aceptaron, no dejaron de tirarle enfrente en la jeta a todo el mundo que estamos en recesión todo el tiempo. Hay shows de televisión de esa época donde todo el show de televisión dice la economía está mal y no sé qué. Sí, pero y hasta discutían los personajes, pero no es una recesión. Muy divertido. Y estamos más o menos en ese punto acá, en Estados Unidos. ¿Qué es lo que estoy esperando? Capitulización del dólar. Eso quiere decir, es lo que hemos estado esperando todo este tiempo. Llegar a un punto muy bajo. Todavía no se da. Todavía no hemos llegado. Les voy a poner esto una vez más para que lo vean. Si medimos de COVID, ¿no? Que cuando empezó en marzo acá y fue un 15%, fue un 12%, ya tenemos un 15% para acá abajo. 15%, ¿ok? Si queremos hacer el matching de esto, que fue una de las caídas más grandes de la historia, es un 23%. Si pusiéramos ese 23% con el dólar, deberíamos de capitular más o menos por acá en los 88. O sea, no llevarnos esto. Caer más o menos por acá, en el 88. Y eso sería como un SFP. Ahora, ¿esto va a durar cuánto tiempo acá y luego va a ser esto? ¿Quién sabe? Pero es lo que va a pasar. Y es lo que hemos repetido sin parar, sin parar, sin parar. Y un movimiento ya de este tamaño acá, estás hablando de una crisis gigantesca como la del 2008. Ahora, no quiero que nadie se preocupe por esto, da igual, de todas maneras. Si estás en este momento diciendo, güey, no hay recesión, no hay crisis, solamente todo está muy caro y no me alcanza para nada y estás feliz, da igual, sé feliz. A fin de cuentas es todo lo que necesitas saber. Es solamente interesante cómo todos necesitan ser validados por el gobierno para entender lo que están viendo. Es la cosa más rara del mundo, en mi opinión, pero es lo que está sucediendo en las casas de todo el mundo. ¿No se les hace raro que tengamos que tener a alguien que, a papi gobierno que nos diga, ok, ya estás en recesión, bien? Porque si lo dice un medio, si lo dice un cabrón en línea, si lo dicen, nos vale verga. Pero cuando el papi gobierno salga a decirnos que estamos en recesión, ahí nos tenemos que preocupar. ¿Me entienden? Y ahora, esto se está dando tal cual. La bolsa continúa subiendo como continuó subiendo en el 2007, 2008, hasta el punto septiembre, octubre del 2008, que cayó hasta marzo, 6 meses nada más. Pero la caída en 6 meses fue tan brutal y el recordatorio de todos los días, estás en recesión, en lo que estaba cayendo la bolsa. ¿Y por qué hacen eso? Para que cometas errores y vendas todo lo que tienes y ellos te lo quiten. Desaparece el dinero. Desaparece porque eres pendejo y vendiste todas tus cosas, güey. A estas personas que ahora van a hacer un chingo de lana. No seas ellos. Cuando esto, si es que se llega a dar una vez más, obviamente tengo el bias que vamos para eso porque es lo que he estado apostando a y literalmente con todo mi dinero. Si vamos a ello, aprovecha las oportunidades. Velas como lo que es. Deja de caer en el ciclo que es la jalada del excusado para irte para abajo y date cuenta que estás simplemente dando la misma vuelta otra vez con diferentes nombres y diferentes personajes. Es idéntico. Es idéntico. Entonces necesitamos permiso para caer en recesión. Tal vez. Tal vez. Vamos a ver cuándo nos dan permiso de entender y para cuándo la echan para atrás. Porque acuérdate, cuando la declaran en el 2009, por ahí, ¿no? Al principio del 2009, nos dijeron que empezó en el 2000, ¿cuándo empezó? En el 2007. Se voltearon 2 años para atrás y dijeron, güey, esto 2007. Yo les dije, 2023, septiembre de 2023, para mí es donde empezó. Y todavía lo tengo así pensado. Vamos a ver qué tal juega esto, a ver si de verdad he aprendido algo o no. Pero si no, mínimo, la reflexión es interesante. ¿Cómo puede pasar lo mismo, los mismos resultados, con una diferente ecuación? Y por alguna razón no podemos creer lo que estamos viendo. Simplemente muy interesante. Con eso los voy a dejar. Al rato voy a estar anunciando al ganador de esos $8,000 en Salovisa. Acaba el sorteo en casi 5 horas. Así que para los últimos que se están registrando, ahí lo tienen y vamos a regalar. Bueno, voy a regalar mi lana. Qué dolor. Oye, me puedo haber comprado algo bonito. Pero bueno, que lo disfrute el que gane, por el amor de Dios. Vamos a darle a todo esto porque no hay dinero más fácil en el mercado en este momento que tradeando e invirtiendo. Y para todos ustedes que quieran, que sean traders y quieran caerle a una comunidad chida donde la gente sabe lo que está haciendo, cáiganle acá a Elite Trading Academy. Es nuestro Discord, es completamente gratis. Los menús están del lado izquierdo, por supuesto. Aquí tienen los análisis de Alex, los análisis de Farhan, por supuesto. También tienen nuestro famoso criptolingo, que es todos los diccionarios, abreviaciones de absolutamente todo para que lo entiendan en español y en inglés. Si no entiendes esto, vale la pena empezar a aprender las bases de cripto, no de cripto, de trading. Porque si no entiendes esto, no hablas nuestro lenguaje. Y si no hablas nuestro lenguaje, ¿cómo vas a aprender más por más que veas estos videos? Y por más que te diga la gente que es como tradear y hace esto y compra esto, güey, es difícil. Aquí está. Aquí dejaron a su patito. No te preocupes, aquí te lo cuidamos, mi querísimo Fair Show. Pero cáiganle aquí al chat general, es buenísimo también para apoyar, a ver cómo van, cómo va la gente, qué es lo que están pensando, cómo se están moviendo, cuáles exchanges tienen los menos fees, etcétera. Vengan a compartir sus P&L cards con nosotros, por supuesto. Güey, bien, un 172% en Solamis. Con solamente un 50X, muy ETA. Aquí ya estás. 100X y perdiste 300. ¿Cómo puedes perder 358? Ah, porque usaste, ¿cómo se dice? No solamente es una posición, es cuando toda tu cartera está en juego. Qué mamada, güey, lo siento. 448% con un 100X, bien hecho, hijos de puta. El buen Tomatito, promedia. Exactamente, Tomatito, yo también. Cuando vas gane y gane, cabrón, dices, tiene que caer y va a caer porque ya lo pensaste. Un 585% solamente en un cool 500X, nada mal. Y para todos los degenerados que quieran justamente hacer eso y aprender cómo usar estos exchanges de futuros como Bluffing, que es lo que usamos, o BTCC, y ahora vamos a anunciar otro nuevo, para todos ustedes, cáiganle a nuestro sitio web, aquí le pican en tutos, que son tutoriales, le picas en cómo tradear en Bluffing y tienes un video de 5 minutos que te enseña cómo usar el exchange. Te enseña cómo mandar dinero a él, cómo mandar el dinero dentro de ahí para tus cuentas, etcétera, cómo abrir un corto, cómo abrir un largo, todo eso, lo básico. 5 minutitos, no te toma más y aquí tienes el enlace. Aquí abajo en la descripción también tienes el enlace para BTCC, para Bluffing. Bluffing es criptomonedas con apalancamiento hasta 150X. Entonces, Bitcoin, Ethereum, no sé qué mierdas es nueva ahora que todo el mundo está hypeado de. Esa chingadera también la puedes comprar ahí, apalancarte hasta 150X. Y en BTCC puedes también hacerlo en acciones como Tesla, Nvidia, etcétera. y también puedes apalancarte hasta 500x. Si no sabes lo que estás haciendo, por el amor de Dios, no hagas eso. Por favor, te lo recomiendo mucho. Sin más ni más, les traigo aquí ya al buen Alex y a Farhan. Todos los enlaces que les platiqué están aquí abajo. Para lo que necesiten, vamos a darle. Ya saben que les voy a dar el análisis. Lo van a ver en inglés. Yo se los traduzco a español y nos vamos. Vamos a ver cómo están los bitcoins, damas y caballeros. Good morning, boys. Fuck me.
Morning.
Once I just realized I don't have my headphones on.
Here we go. What up, boys? Morning.
Buenos dias, cochilocos, chamacos.
No. You're cochiloco, motherfucker. Don't bring us to your bullshit. We don't know what the fuck that is. I don't want to get diarrhea.
Too late. I already had diarrhea.
We don't know.
I had it yesterday.
Oh, it's very refreshing. Very refreshing. It's fast, it's quick, it goes away. You don't feel bloated. It's good.
Today I feel good though. No diarrhea today.
Good. How are you, Alex?
Doing good. Feeling a little better than yesterday. Yesterday I felt like I was dying. So hopefully today I get better, and then come tomorrow I'm fully recovered. The United States, I always get sick when I come back. I don't know why.
You don't know why? Do you want me to start giving you the list of all the stuff that you...
Let's not go into series. Let's not go into series, actually. But yeah, I actually may know why I'm sick just a bit. But among other things, we're getting volatility this morning, which is nice on Bitcoin.
We did, and we did find that nice 107,400 area as a nice bounce zone. So anyone that played that, that's pretty good. What are you guys looking at? Who's going to... There you go. There we go. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, she's playing right into our hand, actually. I mean, we were discussing over the weekend making that move. You know, consolidation and move up definitely would be kind of more predatory in Bitcoin, considering, I mean, just the price action we had over the last week, just downside. I mean, bears simply had an easy trade playing lower highs. So for me, it would make sense after a lower low to kind of be on defense here for a bounce, and maybe even look for a bearish retest right into this region. That still doesn't change. I'm still looking for that scenario. You see today, you had almost that pop up fulfilling the bear prophecy, but I'm actually looking at this as more of like a bait on shorts. Bait on shorts. And why I say that is just simply if you start going to the lower time frame, it actually starts painting a different picture. Whereas the daily, it's looking, more predatory. Whereas if you were gauging a short here and you woke up today and you see this wick high rejection, you might be thinking, oh man, we may be front running this. Let me just scale a short now. We're under support on the daily. But then that's why lower timeframes become your friend, because actually the 8 hour is telling you, well, I mean, you just reclaimed back above, firstly, that EMA 9, and then also the meme line support at that 109,300, giving you more of a bias on maybe making another move up. Now, a move up to me kind of plays hand in hand with today, which is maybe this move this morning is just a bait on shorts before we squeeze up and actually get that bearish retest. Because that $110,000 region was very strong support and resistance, and we've seen this reject a few times. If we go back to this range here, you notice that anytime we go up to that extremity high, it would get sold off right at that $110,000 region. So moving forward, when we see that daily EMA 9, which is very important for us now because we do see that the dailies in Silver Cross, but then also an EMA 100 plus a loss of support, this definitely makes it very, very likely to reject this area. So still gauging that today, still want to fill max shorts around this region, and you simply can just use the last daily lower high as your stop. Shorting as close to that as possible is definitely the move. Because if you start scaling shorts here, I mean, where's the stop? Well, you have to still use the last lower high. Getting this squeeze will start making you feel the pain, because you still could have a scenario where, again, if you know where the last lower high is, the idea is that using the 9, using the 100, using the meme line gives you an area of interest, which is a bigger place for a rejection. But you very well could go all the way up to here and then reject. I mean, that very well could happen as well, meaning you don't want to be the person scaling shorts right in this region. It just doesn't make sense to me, specifically when you have so many things kind of guiding you on saying, well, yeah, upside could happen here, but again, just kind of shorting the right spot is very key moving forward. Now, something to note here is that The 12-hour EMA9 is still giving us a short bias, and you saw today that you just still couldn't get back above that 12-hour EMA9, and now that's lined up nicely with resistance. Where the 8 hours reclaiming support, the 12 hours still rejecting resistance, and that's why the trade is still based on the daily. Because I don't really want to get chopped out trying to long and then short here, and when I'm just simply waiting, sitting on my hands, I know today's still considered a weekend. Markets are closed overall. So I know that, well, tomorrow into tonight, you very well could get some downside now, and then it just pops. And we've seen this before where it seems like you're going to get the easy trade at the meme line, rejects, hits support, and then you just get that pop. And the original short idea is always smart. You see that 12-hour EMA9 gave you a 5% rejection straight to business, whereas if you just started scaling shorts here, it was more choppy. So patience will pay today. I do believe that. And I'm still gauging this zone as a major rejection spot. Now let's throw the HBDR on. Let's see how that's updated. Oh, look at that. Good confluence of this idea. It's always nice when you do your analysis, then you throw the HBDR on and it just lines up nicely. You do see you're at the bottom side of the 38.2%. Again, telling you, yes, you're at a big spot. We should see some kind of move up from here. If you don't, okay, you'll then be in still a breakdown, perfectly okay. But this tells me that, yeah, you still should be gauging until you lose the 38.2%, a bounce here. And that bound could easily even take you higher than my zone. And you could even go to the median here. And this just plays into nicely the idea of really not scaling shorts here, but rather look for a pop up and try to short as close to the last major daily lower high as possible. That then will give you always a tight risk to reward short. For my plan moving forward today and tomorrow, I'm just going to start scaling shorts up here. Risk will be here as a hard stop loss. And I know that, well, if the daily EMA 100 and the median and the daily EMA 9 gets reclaimed, well, then that'll just mean that the 21 will be the next spot. That has implications of maybe $112,000 getting reclaimed. And at that point, yeah, all you're basing this short on now is just this lower high, which again, we've seen work before. That this generally does play out nicely. But that's why you want to respect the levels. And so for me, you don't really want to see this $112,000 level get reclaimed. This is when this does get reclaimed. This is what really starts popping Bitcoin up. It's getting back above $112,000. So 4%. This was a almost 11% move. You didn't reclaim it. You rejected. Nice green dildo. At that point, you went up another 6%. So, it's very nice when everything's lined up, but this tells me that, yeah, we should pretty much start rejecting at very minimum this $112,000 region or close to the median. That's all that tells me on the daily. This median can shift more down. It can actually match closer to the daily 9. If that does occur, great. We have now 3 setups telling you that 110,600 region should be a rejection zone. You have a daily silver cross. You have a daily EMA 100, which is always my favorite setup on any asset because, well, these can just be what starts a very trending move, I'll say. Get back above. It's the start of a bull market. You start losing it. It's the start of a major downtrend. So, and again, on the daily, but the point is that, yeah, this is the area where if you are not positioned, you do definitely want to be watching this very carefully, very closely. You don't want to be shorting this zone. You very well could reject that 109.3 and just roll over. That could happen, but as shown on the HBDR, until we actually lose that 38.2%, I'm not really here to be aggressively shorting meme line resistance when I know Bitcoin is very predatory up here in this region. You remember it when it was just chopping here before it broke out. So, right, this was a daily 9. It's still consolidating above. You were in this channel breakout, so it's bullish. While this is bearish. This is under the daily 9, consolidating under it. It's a bearish consolidation. So The point is, very predatory price action occurs here. Still watch the extremity high, know where you're wrong, and as long as you play daily downtrend, you should be able to gauge an easy short. So we can go now to Tether dominance. Or no, I want to go back to Bitcoin. We had a weekly close, and I want to talk about that too. Nice. So yeah, the weekly closes, well, not good. I mean, weekly EMA 9 is always a big spot. And why is it a big spot? Well, in this bull market, I just saw it very well respected. Often is. The higher the time frame you throw on a 9, the more it becomes respected. So you had a weekly EMA 9.
Just a quick note. You also had a 2-week close in the monthly.
And that bi-monthly too. Yeah, I'll look at the higher time frames. The weekly EMA 9 was just a big spot. Losing that for me always, at least for me, makes me cautious. And so when this is lined up nicely with, well, simply that $112,000 region, the area we were talking about, that's a big zone of resistance now. When you throw the HBDR on, this becomes very interesting because you are technically in a breakdown on the weekly. And the top side of the 38.2% is right into that $110,000 region, telling you again, even on a weekly setup here, that this zone that we're viewing on the daily still should be looked at and respected as a major area of resistance, as shown even on the weekly here. And this is very important because you're in the midst of a breakdown, all while BBWP is still giving you a volatility setup. Yes, you are at the weekly 21. Again, a bounce should be expected from here. That bounce could go as high as $112,000. Again, just lines up nicely with the daily analysis right here with the median. And that's why for me, as long as we're not taking out August 28th's wick high, I'm still viewing this as just, it can go literally as high as 112,000 and reject and still roll over from there. And again, the weekly would just retest something that's been rejecting. You lost a weekly EMA 9 2 weeks ago, and then you rejected down. And so into this week, you still shouldn't disregard a weekly 9. Let's throw the 5 on and see where that's at. Oh, so it's actually right by that 9. So yeah, $112,000. That $112,000 region is a big spot. Big spot. Now, personally, I don't think we're going to go that high, but this is crypto. So, that's why a stop loss is important, because even if you do, you're still not really, you're not scaling shorts here. If you start scaling shorts in this region, you pop up to here and then roll over. It's like, okay, cool. You didn't really have to, hold a short trade all the way up to here, eating a 3.6% loss. Maybe max you're eating like a 1% maybe. So that should just help manage risk. But still, in this area, Bitcoin looks like it's breaking down. Higher time frames don't look good. We go to the 2-week. Disgusting candle. This was a really red, girthy dildo, essentially. And again, even the 2-week EMA 9. Did it get lost? Almost. So bounce at this point shouldn't surprise you. In super trending markets, you can throw the 5 on. Often the 5's respected before the 9 on higher time frames. And so where is this 2-week EMA 5? Well, that's sitting right at that $110,600 region. Again, just good confluence of that daily setup, just bleeding to the weekly, the 2-week, go to the monthly. Now, the monthly on the HBDR isn't showing me much. You're just kind of within the middle. You have the median now at 130,000, bottom side of the 38.2% at $92,000. But what we have here is, and you just have a massive deviation. It depends on what levels you're looking at. I could call 112,000 a deviation, 114,000. For me, I'd like to use this $112,000 region simply using this wick high rejection. We then reclaimed back above. You couldn't hold the throwback. So any move into that $112,000 region should, in theory, massively reject you. Like, it should not go much higher. That should massively reject you, and daily downtrend shouldn't be invalidated. And that's kind of how I'm viewing the monthly, and you can even view the bi-monthly that way as well. The bi-monthly is giving you confirmation, if you are a bear, that, well, this is looking topped. This looks top to me. You still were unable to close above that 109 region. And you saw this 109 region reject a few times on Bitcoin on the bi-monthly. Why you wanted to see this bi-monthly close above that? So you've rallied up to it. This is still 2 months, so you very well could hit our zone, our short zone. But all this bi-monthly really tells you potentially is that Bitcoin's topped, and conservative shorts are just going to use this high as their stop, and they'll just be shorting all major levels. If you start, let's say, trend shifting on the daily, goes up to the 12-hour 9, going back above there, like as long as you're not taking out this bi-monthly wick high, bears are going to be running with shorts, just using this evening star here. So we ever had a bi-monthly evening star right here. So then shorts using this stop into the next bi-monthly, move up, couldn't break that, broke down, couldn't fully break down. Again, you held above all moving averages. And then you took this high out. And once you took this high out, that was the start of a big move. So no, this really, yes, it did play out because you did get follow through, but not really. You didn't, I don't know. It's hard to say. Kind of did, I guess, on a 19% move. But it was still very choppy. I will say that, very choppy. And you still made wick highs of like 14% before rejecting. This is a better example. Here's a better example. Top monthly, bi-monthly candle. And then you just get follow through. And this is kind of how it should go. You just get follow through. Not immediately, but the following candle, you do close lower than the previous close. So into this bi-monthly, we should see it ideally. Yeah, move up. Cool. That skills our shorts. But into this bi-monthly, the next 2 months, you should see Bitcoin, actually move lower. I'm actually looking for a move down back to around that $100,000 region flat. And again, that just lines up really nicely with our daily. I don't need to be trading off the bi-monthly if the daily is lined up. You lose the EMA 100, you're going to get a move down to the SMA 200. And that's sitting right at $101,000. So very close to our psychological $100,000 level. This is very important because right into this dump, we saw the EMA 100 get reclaimed here. Into this reclaim, we were saying any move down, if we start dumping aggressively, if you move down to the EMA 100, you have to look at that as an opportunity zone. Because, again, what was resistance should be flipped into support. You did get that. You got a nice all-time high from that. So you're using that same logic of the SMA 200. This is a big spot. The SMA 200 on the daily needs to hold. There's no question about that. So that is sitting right at 101,344. So that's a big zone. It's right at $100,000 flat, and that does line up nicely with the bi-monthly EMA 5. And again, the EMA 5 on the bi-monthly has been the spot that's been holding. Yes, you can wick a little below it, hit the 9, but you haven't really lost this bi-monthly 5 all bull market. So when I see that's lined up with the daily SMA 200, basically, that just tells me that, okay, we have an easy short losing the EMA 100 here. Perfectly fine. We can easily short this all the way down to this region, but then this is when I want to start looking for a deeper, bigger bounce on Bitcoin. Similar to when we came into here. Easy short down to it. But then once we got down to here, this is when you need to start being more bullish. You need to start looking for a deeper bounce. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Once we fill shorts, I want to make a move all the way down to $100,000. That'll line up really nicely with testing the SMA 200. There we'll see if bulls pick up or not. If you start losing the SMA 200 on the daily, plus you lose that monthly EMA 9, which again is almost at a 101. $101,000, then yeah, you have to really start questioning if that bi-monthly has topped us and Bitcoin is potentially entering into a bear market. So until then, you should be gauging any move down to $100,000 flat as an opportunity zone, which is shown on the monthly, bi-monthly, and daily. And I'm going to be gauging that as such, but that doesn't mean you can't have an easy short down to that zone. Still means that you very easily could capitalize on a 8.5% move, which for me, that's pretty good because I use insane leverage. So that's what I'm looking for today and tomorrow. So we'll go down to tether dominance. We'll look here. And so, yeah, this is telling you that you should be gauging, some kind of weakness on Bitcoin because you did actually reclaim this daily EMA 100. So now this is telling you that you very easily from this point can make a move up to that 4.69%. Which is a big level for tether dominance. We've been watching that 4.69% quite a while, actually. You get back above the 4.69%, generally just causes tether dominance to start making its move up to that daily SMA 200. Which is the setup. Reclaim the EMA 100, you will get that move to the SMA 200. It's just like what I said on Bitcoin. It's a 6.72% move from here. But I just simply need to see this daily EMA 9. Ideally, wanted to see it get tested here. I mean, you broke out, wanted a bullish retest, still can't get that. That bullish retest will lead to us filling our Bitcoin shorts like this, and then that pops you up. And this is just front running that. But as long as on the daily you close above the EMA 100, this is going to instantly make you more bearish on Bitcoin and help with kind of guiding if you should be longing or not on Bitcoin. Should you? No, this is the inverse relationship on Bitcoin. This goes up, Bitcoin will go down. This is looking not the worst. Yeah, just a nice bounce off the daily median. Next target is 4.63%, which we'll just put into question that 4.69% anyways that we'll be looking at. Okay, cool. So you've hit the weekly 21. You've gotten back above the weekly 9. This just ties into the daily. You just simply want the weekly and the daily to just test the 9, the EMA 9. That should give you a spring. So you see, again, you're front running that. Perfectly okay. But this isn't looking very bearish to me. You've just gotten back above the weekly median. That's sitting now at 4.4%, lined up nicely with the meme line. Big spot here that we've seen. And so now if you end up getting that move down, Bitcoin starts pumping up, you go to 4.4%, maybe we go to $112,000 on Bitcoin. Is this still really a big concern for our shorts? No, this is just a weekly median retest after being under it for so long. You lost the weekly median, I mean, officially here in July. So you've just been under it for multiple weeks. And you would be gauging that 4.4% anyways. This is a big level. So when you have a weekly median here, this just really makes it a big level. Because just look at this dotted line and just see kind of the reactions off of it. It's pretty big. So, and even the rejections. So you should be gauging that as kind of your line in the sand. 4.4% needs to hold on tether dominance. Again, just kind of shown here, really near that daily 9, still hasn't been tested. And you can just see here the 21 will be shifting right into that 4.4%. Let's go on the 2-day. Same with the 2-day. Should go up. 2-day EMA 9 should move into that 4.4%. And even the 2-day, I don't trade off the 55 only for crosses, but the 2-day is technically in a buy trigger. So when I look at something like this, an EMA 34 holding us down, logically, I'd want to see this get tested. Something like this, SR flip, you get kind of that price structure shift. If like the EMA 34 keeps extending, you'll see it. And then that's like a shift. What was resistance, flipped into support. Next objective is to that EMA 100 at 4.63%. And you have a 2-day volatility setup. Not confirmed, but this is juicy. This is telling me that, yeah, you very well could make a big move from here as long as you hold about 4.4%. And then we'll look at the buy monthly. So you're in the extreme zone. This is what I can see. Bi-monthly lost to 34. That's important. So when I see this, the bi-monthly is technically in a major sell signal. Now, this is important because last time you lost the bi-monthly EMA 34, the following bi-monthly candle was a major green dildo, and it was shown here. When you lost the EMA 34, you did make a move down back into support, but then this bi-monthly turned into a nice buyback. So here you've lost the 34. Bears need this just simply to reject and just start moving back down. Bulls are looking for this kind of scenario to happen again, where you lost the 34, this starts coming down, maybe that 4.4%, and then that gets bought up and starts moving up closer to that bi-monthly EMA 9, which is right at almost 5% at this point. I'll throw the 5 on here. I'm curious. No, lost the 5 too. So really, all bulls have here is just a meme line reclaim on the monthly. Made a nice buyback candle. You got back above 4.4%. You've seen this on the monthly reject. Let me clean this up a bit. Like here and here, there, right? So you've lost it. 4.4% rejected. Here you got back above 4.4% held. It also held here before moving up. Then you made your move down. Still got some reaction. Following month went up, lost support, reclaimed support. So if you ended up coming back to 4.4%, should be using that as at least confluence to make a move up to that 4.69% or the monthly 9. Which just still means that Bitcoin still can move down, and it still can move down quite a lot. And that just could give us that daily SMA 200 target simply. Now, I'll be wrong on this idea if you start taking out 3.79%. That's just going to be in a breakdown. The extremity lows are taken out. I know that's a huge area. If you're using like a monthly or bi-monthly, it's a big level. I guess we can go here. I mean, daily's in a simple uptrend now. So this 4.4% will be a higher low anyways. You know, I guess if you get any daily closure back under like 4.2%, I'll just be gauging that as kind of the pre-stages of maybe a breakdown towards that 3.79%. But still, I mean, this means that, yeah, this still can come down a bit. But as long as you're just above that 4.4%, you should be gauging a bearish move on Bitcoin. All right. So we finally got that Bitcoin dominance monthly candle closure. This is important because I do believe at this point we can bounce off the 57.4%. I understand you've lost that monthly EMA 21. This is what aggressive bears want to reject simply off the beginning of the month. This just rallies up, hits the 21, and starts making its move to the 34. Personally, I don't think it's going to be that weak because Bitcoin dominance hasn't really been that weak. I think you can get a move down to support, kind of like what we were looking at in September. No, in August. We're in September now. In August, which is okay. Yeah, the monthly 9's kind of gonna hold the trade here. Something as strong as a monthly 9 has been holding this entire bull market. Logically, you just simply want to see that flip into resistance. This starts forming your downtrend price structure on the monthly, giving you maybe a lower high before breaking that lower low. This then would make a lot of sense because Bitcoin dominance has been very strong. Now, the last 2 months, it hasn't been, but now you're at major support. I mean, last time you sold down after a major rally up, you sold down, came down to this 57.4%, and then you got a bounce. So a bounce into this region should not surprise you. It's just more, is it going to reject that monthly 9 or is it going to reclaim it? Now, if it reclaims it, then all eyes on the EMA 100. You could be in a moving average range, but at that point, that'll start looking a lot better for bulls. Two-week close, just within this range. Very well could hit support here and then start moving up to that 59.7%. Just right near that EMA 34. So still, no matter what, it still means that this could start moving up at least 4% before rolling over, of course. So, I mean, in summary, I'm just looking for Bitcoin to start kind of baiting shorts on the daily. Now, I understand kind of the level we're at. We're right still under that 109.3, which is a big level. But I also know how the daily EMA 100 is for Bitcoin. And I know more often than not, we do like to squeeze up, retest it, and that squeeze up gets everyone bullish. So I'm still gauging a move up to that zone. I want 110,600 to reject. I'm fully aware that 112,000 could come into a play. But that's why we're going to keep our stop at the last daily lower high. That way we avoid any kind of liquidity grab. And if you go into that $112,000 region, you should be gauging that as just a straight to business rejection zone. No chop. That should just be what really springs us down. So I'm gauging that. If we start rejecting this region, my next zone will be right into that $100,000 region. So that's all I have on Bitcoin.
All right, let me share my screen. At least I remember to unmute myself. Just progress.
Good, good.
We don't. It's okay to be retarded. It's not okay to stay retarded.
Well said.
All right. I'll start with the daily on Bitcoin. Let's zoom this out a little bit. So right now you do have a fresh silver cross to the downside on the daily, and since the cross has happened, we have not yet retested that 9 EMA. So if you were to check what happens the last time we had a silver cross to the downside and what price did after it, we'll see. Right over here, we had a nice silver cross to the downside. We dumped, lost the 100 EMA, rejected the 5 EMA, dumped again, rejected the 5, dumped again, and then dumped to the 200. Then we got our retest of the 100, kind of a deviation, dumped again to the 200, made another lower low. Let's find another example of a silver cross to the downside. Usually these silver crosses to the downside happen on the more prolonged correction/crashes. Like this was our correction/crash to $76,000, ended up going lower to 74, and then the previous silver cross to the downside was right before we had that late 2024 move up to the $100,000 zone. It was right here in about August, whenever we dumped to something around like 40. Yeah, $49,000. And same thing happened before. We silver crossed, dumped to that 200, but on this one we retested the 200 and then dumped again. So on both ones so far, you have a move straight to the 200. Here's another silver cross to the downside. This one lost the 100. This one got a bearish retest of the 100 and then went to the 200. So the idea seems to be that or sooner rather than later, after you get that silver cross to the downside, you do go to that 200 SMA. This is the one where you didn't go to it. This one just quickly reclaimed that 100. This would also be an invalidation on our short idea right now, is if you reclaim that 100, you don't want to be short anymore. On almost overcrossed, but it didn't. Correct it to the 100. This one doesn't. This one right here as well, silver cross to the downside, lost to 100, but this one in one candle went to the 200. And as of right now, let's zoom up, scroll up. We have lost the 100 EMA, but we're continuing to hold this meme line in this 38.2%. And if we do maintain a close over this 38.2% at 108,269, more likely than not, you're going to come back up and test the median. And where does the median sit? It sits literally exactly maybe a couple bucks away from this 100. Not only does it sit a couple bucks from the 100, it's also sitting right on the 9 EMA. And you got a silver cross to the downside, and the 9 EMA has not been tested yet. So you got the median, you got the 100 EMA, and you got the 9 EMA. This is where we have our Academy short sitting right now, somewhere between this high 110s, right around the $111,000. I think I'm going to move the entry down by a few $100. If you could do that, Alex, if you wouldn't mind, move the entry to somewhere 110.6 to like 111. And then because that sits right at that 9 EMA, the 100 EMA, and the median, they're all sitting at 110.6. So I think I want to bring the entry down from 111. And let's zoom in a little bit. Right now on the 4-hour, we did get a rejection of this 38.2%, which gives us a move to the median, but the median is steadily holding. And now we're once again back, and we're continuing to hold this 9 EMA as well. We're currently rejecting this 38.2%, but as long as we're holding over the median, it's not looking too bad. And if you look at the 8-hour, the 8-hour has now reclaimed this 9 EMA, which has been resistance ever since basically this dump where we bearish retested the 9 and then we dumped again. Now we've closed over the 9. We're just hovering around it. We're still slightly over the median as well. So if we do close over that median, preferably close over the 9, you get another test of this 21. At that point, I think we're probably going to get a little bit higher to this 50%. This is the area where I think we're going to put in our bearish retest. And the stop loss is right now is on this at this wick high at 113,450. But it's gonna be a couple bucks off depending on your exchange. This is bluffing. Let's look at momentum real quick. Momentum is also currently pointed to the upside on the 4-hour, getting close to getting into the bullish control zone. Do we have any divergences here? No divergence. For volatility is very close to going into an expansion phase as well. And now you've got a nice buy signal on the jewel, the pink crossing above the yellow in the bearish control zone, light blue starting to curve around into a buy signal, and it's rejecting the bearish control zone right here. This is going to be a little bit more of a powerful signal than the one that we had over here, and see how much of a signal we produce. And the reason it's going to be more powerful is because it's happening lower. Oops. Move up about 1 point. Oh, that's a nice number, 1.69%. A little pullback and then 2.45%. So let's just take it 1.69% and then 2.45. So basically our top right now is very close to that 2.45 number. Let's go to 2.45 exactly. Brings us to exactly that 110 region. 12 hours also now flipping to the upside, getting out of the bearish control zone. Is there any divergences here? There is indeed bullish divergence between these 2 points because price made a lower low, momentum made a higher low. And to confirm this, you would have to close over about 109,893. And that would give you an easy target of hitting basically the 21 EMA, which right now is sitting at about $110,800. Kind of lines up with the median as well, the 21. Interesting. Jules not losing the sell signal, switching over into a neutral. Daily is also flipped to the upside. No divergence possible in the daily, however, because you're making lower lows on momentum. Price is making lower lows as well. That goes also further strengthens my bias that we're going to reject somewhere around this zone and make a lower low around somewhere around this 200 SMA. And this is the area where I'm planning to basically close all shorts and start flipping long, right around this 101,000 to low $100,000 area for that psychological figure and plus a retest of this daily 200 SMA. This is whether we're going to be bullish or bearish, you're very likely going to get somewhat of a reaction to this 200. Let's see what the past relationship has been with the 200 ever since we broke out above it in April of 2025. Never really came back. Never came back to test it at all. The last time we had our major rejection before we made a lower low was at the 200. Rejected it right here. Ended up making a lower low at $74,000. It was rejection on chop all the way throughout here. it's got a very solid bounce off of it from here. Let's not measure it from the wick low, but measure it from the 200. Let's see how much of a bounce we got. 15.86% off of that 200. That's pretty good. And then the last time we tested it, again, well, that was the first time we tested it after getting our breakout in October 2024. Same idea as before. We got a breakout in April, never tested it again until the more long-form correction, which it might be, I think we're getting right now based off of that silver cross that we had at that time that we also have right now. During the on all of the shorter corrections, we didn't have a daily silver cross to the downside. The only ones that were more long form that went to the 200 did have that silver cross. That's fueling my bias a lot right now is that silver cross plus the loss of the 100. And the daily is right above that 38.2%, giving you the same target. So the 2-day. 2 days currently lost the 55 EMA. Right now, I'm looking for a little bit of a bearish retest of that 55. That's that same 110s area, maybe a little bit higher to this 5 EMA, right around 110.8. Somewhere around there, very likely rejects, and then you're probably going to come down to this 100, probably a little bit lower than 100 because that only sits at 104. This tells you that you'll probably get a little bit of a bounce at 104, maybe back up to this meme line at 105.7, and then eventually down to that 101s. 2 days very close to flipping back up on momentum, while volatility is pretty close to going into a contraction phase. Telling you if momentum does flip up, it's likely going to be a corrective move. 5 days still flip to the downside, no divergence possible because it's making lower lows on momentum, volatility is expanding, and the 5 days still giving you that bearish jewel cross. This is what fuels my more medium-term bias for bearish retest and then a rejection and then move down to somewhere around 100 to 101. And that would be a retest somewhere around this 55 EMA, which right now is sitting right around $100,000, and it's going to slowly rise with every single close. Weekly has now lost to 38.2%, resting right around that 21 EMA. 21 is where we deviated from last time after we tested the 55. Tested the 55 was our last major low at about $74,000 before we ran up to new all-time highs. Right now, for a bearish retest, I'm looking somewhere around this bottom 38.2% towards maybe somewhere around this 5 EMA, around 111. Don't think it's going to get that high to around 111.8, 112, somewhere around high 110s to very low 111s. I think is going to be the zone for the retest, and then down to the 55, which is ever so slightly going to rise. Right now, it's sitting at about $95,000. It's a little bit low. You do want to see it rise up to somewhere around 100 to 101. If we retest this, we're taking out this last major low. That's very worrying because this is the low that took us to new all-time highs. Over here, we did not take out the low that took us to new all-time highs. And weekly is about to give you that bearish jewel cross as well. The pink crossing below the yellow hasn't happened yet. 2 week is also, we just got a 2 week closing. Nice. 2 week lost the 5 EMA. We're resting right at that 9 EMA. We did bounce off of the 9 EMA last time to new all-time highs. So as long as we are holding that 9 EMA on a closing basis, it's not really looking the worst. Once you start to lose that 9 EMA, however, it's plugged in. Once you start to lose that 9 EMA, you're going to have a target somewhere around that 21, and that's sitting at around $99,500 right now, right around $100,000. Ever so slightly going to rise. We want to see it come up to this 38.2%, right around 101 to 102. Then if we can get one of these moves where we bottom at the 21 and go to new all-time highs. Right now, momentum is still possibly putting in hidden bullish divergence by taking out this low, and price is still closing over $101,050. I like to see that. More confluence with 101. And as long as we're closing over the area, eventually you'll have hidden bullish divergence. Right now, to confirm it, it's a little difficult. You will have to close over about 117,622, but eventually it's going to be much easier because on this next candle, it's going to be about 1099. That's a lot easier to do than 117. Monthly also got a closure. We still held the 5 EMA on the monthly. As of right now, we are still sitting at the 5 EMA. If we do see a move lower, that 100 to 101 area lines up perfectly with the monthly 9. And if you look at our last major low, that was also right around that monthly 9 EMA. We went lower, but the whole idea was that we held the 9 EMA on a closing basis. As long as you're holding it on a closing basis, the bull market is still alive. No bear market until you've lost that monthly 9 EMA on a closing basis. Because if you see basically all of these moves to the upside, sure, we had chop in between, we had wild wicks to the downside, but we never lost the 9 EMA and just continued to bust up to new all-time highs. We didn't lose the 9 EMA until basically this move here, and this was another how much dump from losing the 9? Another 16, 17% down. This was that move would be made ever so slightly new all-time highs. And then we dumped, lost the 9 EMA again. And from here, when we lost the 9 EMA, we never really bounced very much at all. We only bounced like 4%. And then from that loss of the 9, that's where the bear market started. Immediate dump of 28%, slight bounce, and a bounce of 2%. And then 61% to the downside, 64, 60, 66% to the downside. So as long as you're holding that 9 EMA, you shouldn't really be looking for any of those bear market moves like this. Lose that monthly 9 EMA, and then you can start shorting every single crypto that you see, and you can probably make money on a 5x. Monthly is now flipping up on momentum. This is the first time monthly momentum has started flipping up since basically this zone here in March of 2025, right around our bottom before new all-time highs. Very significant to see that monthly momentum start to flip back to the upside. And it hasn't confirmed yet. It will confirm at the end of the month, flipping back to the upside. But right now, it is very promising because it's putting in hidden bullish divergence by taking out all of these lows, while price is still continuing to make a higher low. To confirm that divergence, you will have to close over about all-time highs, 124, 277. But that will give you an easy target of hitting somewhere around the median, around 130. And then your next level with 38.2% has moved. Right now, it's sitting at around 192,000. Holy shit. It moved up a lot. This was, what was it at? I don't remember, but I remember it wasn't nearly that high. No, it was higher? Really? I thought it was at 160. It might have been the 2 week. So it moved down. Let's see. Did we get a test? Nope. The only time we got to move to that 38.2%, we got to close over the median, and then in the next candle we moved up. On this one, we got an ever so slight close over the median, but on the next one we rejected it. See the previous one? Get them close, retest, and then 38.2%. And the buy signal is still continuing on the jewel. It continued for one more open, so and it still has hidden bullish divergence, further fueling the bias towards resolving to the upside. Let's add a time frame. I already have it. That closed as well. 2 month is also flipping to the upside now on momentum, also putting in possible hidden bullish divergence by taking out these previous lows. Volatility, however, is going into a contraction phase. There's a God mode signal in the background, but the jewel is still giving you a buy signal. Did not shift over to neutral on this close. If we were going to be bearish on this candle, we would have likely, like long-term bearish, we would have likely flipped to a neutral, and this would be flipped to the downside. It hasn't confirmed just yet, but let's confirm where it was at on the previous. I didn't look at 2 month in a while, but I think it was to the downside. Pretty sure it was. Come on, this is hard to do with a touchpad. Yeah, it was flipped to the downside. So since momentum is flipped to the downside right now, it does kind of seem to me like it's going to be one of those traps where it puts in a shooting star and then never really gets the breakdown. Maybe a move down to the 5 EMA at around that 102, 101 area, and then just spring off of that like we did over here to new all-time highs right around that median, right around $140,000. Start to get a close below that 5 EMA, and then that idea is dead, and you're likely going to come down to somewhere around like $88,000, $89,000. Somewhere right around that 38.2%. To the quarterly. Quarterly is still flipped to the downside on momentum. It's very actually already is putting in hidden bullish divergence by taking out this previous low. Volatility is currently expanding. And we are currently still holding over that 5 EMA. We haven't even come close to testing it yet. Usually, whenever we make these major bottoms, we bottom right off that 5 EMA. Right now, we haven't tested that yet. That's sitting somewhere around that $95,000 area. This would be fuel the idea that if we do go for a deeper pullback than what we were thinking, there is still a possibility of bouncing there because it would be a bounce. It would be a test of that quarterly 5 EMA. Only worrying thing is that you're going to have taken out the last major weekly and I believe monthly swing low. Yeah, the monthly, we would have taken that out, which makes it a lot more worrying for bulls. Right now, you still would have a 61.8% chance of testing the median since on the last close, you did ever so slightly close over that median. That around like the close was 107, like barely a couple of dollars over the median, but it still filled that condition. So you would have a 61.8% chance of testing this area, which is currently at about $164,000. Kind of seems to me like this one's going to fail because you would have to go up by around $55,000 in the next 29 days. So it kind of seems like to me that this one's going to be one of the 3 out of 10 times, 1 out of 3 times that it fails.
Damn.
Or maybe we can just see a $55,000 move up in a month.
No, nothing is. I was just analyzing the DXY with recessions and like the 2021 and like every dip pullback, it's like a 12% move. We're already like the DXY already went down 15%, which is pretty crazy from 2022. And the biggest drop ever was from 2005 to 2008, and that was 23%. If we get that extra 10% down on DXY, which will put it at like 88, that could bring Bitcoin to 160 something.
In 1 month?
Well, it happens quickly too, because when we talk about the 2008 great financial crisis and the market meltdown, it took 6 months.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Everyone thinks it took years. It took 6 months.
No wonder it was so much fear.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not waiting for something that's going to last years. I know something's going to happen where it's going to be a quickie. So I'm going to pick it up.
I too shall be joining you on some
Yes, sir.
actual stonks.
Fuck yeah. Just get rich by doing nothing. Why not?
But that's not fair, sir. That's not fair.
What about us that don't have any money and don't have any stocks and are keep buying Taylor Swift tickets and buy now, pay later? Well, you guys are fucked.
Maybe try not being a retard.
Like we said, it's fine to be a retard. It's not fine to stay retard.
Yeah, it's fine to be poor. It's not fine to die poor.
That's right.
So on the quarter, the bi-monthly, we've still got hidden bullish divergence confirmed off of this candle close here, and this is going to be active as long as you're closing above about. I think you could use this one here, 105,159 on a closing basis. And you're already in the critical zone, so it's going to be very difficult to give you a target. I'm going to have to adjust the settings. Actually, you're not in the critical zone. You're at 84. Are you? Yeah, you are. 80 is the critical zone. I'm going to adjust the settings a little bit. Let's put it to 85. That puts us at about 113. Let's change it to 90. So 113 is going to be, it's 113, what? 113, 560. Very close to that 114 resistance area. And 90 is sitting at 173. Please take all of these numbers you see right here with a grain of salt because I got them by changing the settings. Quarterly still got hidden bullish divergence, same number, 74. Oh, this one's a little bit different actually. This one is 74,441. A little difficult to invalidate that one on this candle, but on the next candle it'll be at 105,159. Monthly still got active hidden bullish divergence after taking out this previous low. This is going to be active as long as you're closing over about same number, 105,159. Your next target is going to be the critical zone, which right now this number did go up. It was sitting at 140s last time. Now it's sitting at 173. Interesting. We just saw 173 or 172.6. Basically the same number. And monthly did confirm that that volatility setup being invalidated because we did get monthly momentum flipping back below 15%. So now we're looking for another monthly setup to fire off. We're going to get to that on the momentum chart. 2-week did confirm that drive of bearish divergence on this previous close, and this is going to be active as long as you're closing below 117,622, and your next target off that divergence, the first one is going to be probably we'll be already getting that simple moving average. That's a retest of somewhere around $111,000, lines right up with that idea for the short, and then you get a move to the downside to this neutral zone, which as of right now, the neutral zone sits at $94,000. So for bulls, hopium, it should hope for that it should hope that it takes more than 14 days for this to play out, so then this number can update. Because if the dump happens in this next 2 weeks, probably going to $94,000. And the 2-week has now also shifted back down on that under that 15% volatility. So the 2-week setup has now hasn't been invalidated just yet because it shifted down, but you need to get the close to invalidate it. Once that closes, this will invalidate. So likely, if we're going to be bearish, this is going to dump in this next 2 weeks off of that bearish divergence as well, or else this setup is going to be invalidated. Weekly, nothing. Oh fuck. Is rejected the moving average, so still contracting. 5 days still got bearish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing below about 115,645. Next level is the neutral zone that sits at about 106,120. Nothing. 4 hours currently got regular bullish divergence. This is going to be active as long as you're closing above 108,238. And your next target right now is the bullish control zone, which right now sits at about 110,300. I like that. And daily volatility is now starting to expand above that moving average from 3 periods of 0%. I'm thinking this is going to be one of those volatility setups that starts to play out to the upside, rejects, and then massively plays out to the downside. Let's look at Tether. Was this closed ever so slightly over the mean line, closed at 4.53%. Momentum is currently pretty heavy. It's to the downside, but it does have a possibility of flipping up. It will flip up at the end of this month if you close above 4.45%, which we are slightly above right now. And momentum is down with volatility contracting. Not the most bearish thing, but it's not exactly bullish either. Bulls would have to keep the price from dumping for the until the candle closure to flip this back to the upside. But since it's pointed to the downside right now, more of a chance that it'll dump. You are still putting in possible hidden bullish divergence on the 2-month as well as the quarterly by taking out this previous major low. And as long as you're closing over about 2.37%, you will have that possibility of putting in that hidden bullish divergence. And eventually, it's going to become a lot easier to confirm. The lower you go, the easier it's going to be to confirm. Same idea on the quarterly, although the quarterly is getting volatility expansion momentum to the downside, and it's going to be pointed down as long as you're below 5.78%. Pretty difficult to flip this one back up. But this one, same idea as the 2-month, it's going to be putting in possible hidden bullish divergence as long as you're closing over about 2.23%. Monthly is currently still pointed to the downside. Volatility is now ticked below the moving average, but it hasn't closed to confirm it just yet. And it's rejecting getting out of the bearish control zone, and it has hidden bearish divergence by taking out this previous high. Price made a lower high, and you're going to be flipped down as long as you're below 5.14. 2-week is also flipped to the downside, with volatility just now starting to shift below the moving average, but it hasn't closed just yet. And it's going to be flipped down below 4.99%. So this is one of those things that tells you that the 2-week setup on Bitcoin could possibly invalidate since Tether is still pointed to the downside on the 2-week. Weekly is still currently pointed up. Let's zoom in a little bit. Volatility is in an expansion state now with momentum pointed up. Still in the bearish control zone, but you're going to be pointed up as long as you're over 4.27%. This will take maybe 2 more closures for it to break out of the bearish control zone. 5 days also pointed to the upside with volatility contraction. You're going to be pointed up as long as you're above 4.16. 2-day also pointed up, volatility now expanding from 0%, and you're going to be pointed up as long as you're above 4.23%. 2 days very close to giving a setup. It's at 11% now. Daily is also pointed to the upside with volatility expansion, and it's going to be pointed up as long as you're closing over about 4.47%. And now daily is reclaiming that 100 EMA, which will give you and getting several closures above it, which will give you targets at 200, right around 4.8%. That'd be a nice little dumpski on Bitcoin, putting a nice lower high on Tether, and then we can send it to new all-time highs. That's like 6.5% up on Tether, which will correlate to somewhere around 10 to 15% down on Bitcoin. 10% down brings us 18,000. That brings us like $90,000. Sheesh. 4 hours is now expanding also from many periods of 0% volatility. 4 hour is currently pointed to the downside, but it's very close to flipping back up, and it will flip back up if you close over 4.52. The quarterly first. Quarterly is still pointed up with volatility expansion, and it's going to be pointed up as long as you're closing over 109, 150. Very close to that number. 2 month, which just closed, currently is pointed to the downside. It's just interesting to see. Pointing down on this one, but it's pointing up on the HPDR momentum. Volatility is contracting while it's pointed down, and it's going to be down as long as you're below 111,700. Oh, interesting. More confluence with that 111 zone. Monthly is currently still pointed to the upside. Volatility has now gone into contraction, and you're going to be pointed up as long as you're over 102,450. This pivot went up a lot. Used to be around $95,000. I still have monthly hidden bullish divergence by taking out this previous low. Not looking the worst, but starting to shift over from bullish control. 2 week also pointed to the downside. You're going to be flipped down as long as you're below 117.50. And you've got bearish divergence on the 2 week. Weekly's also got bearish divergence, and you're going to be flipped down below 118,400. 5 day also flipped to the downside. You're going to be flipped down below 118,700. 2 day also flipped to the downside, but with a volatility set up now for many periods of 0%, and it's going to be flipped down below 113.50. Daily is now freshly flipped down with volatility expansion, and that's overcross, and it's going to remain down as long as you're closing below 109,100. Very close to that number right now. And 4 hours also currently flipped to the upside with volatility expansion from 3 periods of 0%. And we're going to be flipped up as long as you're over 108,300 and you're breaking out of the bearish control zone. So on the higher time frames, like the quarterly, it's still pointed, momentum is still pointed to the upside. 2 month has flipped down, which is a little bit boring, but the monthly is still flipped up. The pivot went up a lot, but its price action is still a good amount above that pivot, sitting somewhere around $102,000. Gives confluence of that area being tested, since momentum is going to be up as long as you're above that level. Starts to get bearish when you get to the 2 week. You've confirmed bearish divergence. You have a bunch of setups now pointing to the downside. If you were to have the move play out, that would take you very low, take you somewhere around on the RSI target, somewhere around like $90,000, which would take out our last major low. It would be bullish hopium to have some consolidation for a couple of days, weeks, while these EMAs can rise, and then we can make our bottom somewhere around $100,000 zone. Otherwise, if it happens sooner, it's going to be a lot deeper of a pullback to probably somewhere around that quarterly 5 EMA or around like that $90,000 zone. And we do technically have that 2 day and 2 week setups that are currently targeting somewhere around that $90,000 zone. And we'd have RSI targets in that zone. We have a lot of things giving us that area. major hopium is that we bottom at that daily 100 EMA, send it back up, and just repeat the cycle that we've been doing so far, where we get a silver cross to the downside, we bottom somewhere around 200 sooner rather than later. Sometimes we get a bounce before, but always we end up going to that 200. And so far, we've been bouncing off of it and going to new all-time highs. So on the short term, I think we do get a move to the upside based off of daily and 4-hour momentum pointing up, somewhere around that 110 to 111 zone. That's where I'm planning to enter short. And the Academy also has a short there. And our stop loss is the one that I mentioned before. And I do think this one has a very high probability of playing out based off of that daily silver cross. And the invalidation right now on the short is getting above basically a 4-hour close above. You don't even need a close, just a tick above 113, 450, 113, 500. That's the invalidation on the short, and the invalidation on long-term bullishness is going to be either getting a tick below about 98,003. 98,330. It's going to be a little weird using this one because on the quarterly it would still be bullish. Although for this, I would say to be safe, you should still use 98,330 as the tick, and a weekly close below about $105,000. They wouldn't necessarily tell me bear market; it would just tell me time to shift off risk.
Yeah, very nice. Do you want to do ETH and then we can go fuck off? Because everything is going to move alongside those things.
Sounds good.
Perfecto, señor. Thank you. Para toda la gente por acá, mi Abu, el mercado está cerrado. No vamos a ver acciones. Es como hacerlo el domingo. No tiene sentido alguno. Tenemos que esperar a que abra. Entonces, por eso hicimos cripto. Hicimos Bitcoin y vamos a hacer Ethereum, que es como el otro lado del trade. Y con eso nos vamos, que es National Holiday por acá en Estados Unidos, mis estimados. Así que hoy vamos a disculparnos un poco temprano, pero no queríamos fallarles con mínimo lo de Bitcoin. Sobre todo porque nos quedamos ensalzados en algo delicioso. Platicamos, esta era mi tabla, de este nivel, de los 107,327 para tener el rebote, tal cual lo pueden ver acá, ocurrió. O sea, no pudo haber sido dibujado mejor este pedo. Y el rebote fue, para mí, los 109,500 fueron mi zona para vender por acá. Y ahí es donde de este movimiento yo ya me salí. ¿Y ahora qué toca, no? Esa es la pregunta del 100. Pero hemos estado honestamente con todo. Tenemos ahora un cruce plateado por acá. Lo pueden ver acá arriba. Lo hemos tenido en la diaria por un rato. Pero esto normalmente que es una banderilla bajista, ¿no? Pero esperaríamos un rebote mínimo. Y ese rebote, ¿a dónde lo vamos a tener? La pregunta va a ser si a estos 109, a estos 110, 900, o vamos a regresar a esta zona donde está la línea verde meme, que simplemente regresando acá y no pasando, no te llevas este máximo y con eso básicamente un alto más bajo y podrías tener continuación a la baja. Ahora, cuando hablamos de analizar Bitcoin, tuvimos cierres muy importantes ayer. Y muy divertido, ¿no? Mensual, por supuesto, 2 semanas, semanal, etcétera. Cierres grandes. Y vamos a analizarlo todo para poder darnos una mejor idea. Voy a usar mi índice de Bitcoin. De los Bitcoin, pueden ver que está formando esta vela topera, por supuesto, en la trimestral. Faltan todavía 29 días para cerrar esto, así que no se me pongan locas todavía, pero atentos. Esto fue el final del 2021. Solamente tenerlo en mente. Queremos poder, si somos alcistas, poder romper estos 124. Sería lo que estaría buscando básicamente el mercado. Pero otra cosa a notar, en la trimestral, no todas las tienen que tocar el promedio del 5, pero se acercan al 5. Mínimo las velas rojas no lo tocan, las velas verdes sí. Es interesante, ¿no? El 5 es el promedio blanco, el verde. Eso quiere decir que esta vela se convertiría en roja si lo toca acá, cerrando en 29 días por debajo. Y eso me hace pensar que tal vez no lo vaya a hacer, pero también estoy ya adivinando como si fuera pinche brujo, así que olvídenlo. Simplemente la estructura de Bitcoin continúa siendo alcista con una vela topera que te podría estar diciendo atención nada más, porque todavía faltan 29 días y 10 horas para cerrarlo. Pero pueden ver que volatilidad más bruscamente se está volteando para abajo. Una vez más, recuerden que cada que muevo esto pueden ver un periodo de volatilidad. El último cierre es este, donde apuntaba para arriba con la expansión de precio yéndose para arriba. Y después de ese, ¿qué sigue? Esto todavía no cierra. Para que esto confirme que va a la baja, tenemos que cerrar así o más abajo en 29 días. Entonces todavía le falta, ¿no? para tenerlo presente. Estamos todavía por encima de todos los promedios, como se debe. Elías, todo, métete a YouTube. Está ahí el enlace. Si estás en elitetradingacademy.com, si estás en .us, métete en tutos y ahí pone bluffing. Ahí pone un video que dice cómo tradear en bluffing y ahí está el enlace. Si no, en el video de YouTube, en mi canal, busca Alejandro Salomón y ahí va a salir un en vivo. Pones abajo en la descripción de About y ahí abajo te pone enlace para bluffing, enlace para BTCC, enlace para lo que sea. Y ahí los tienes directito para que no te me pierdas, mi estimado. Gracias por estar por acá. Sé que eres nuevo por acá, se aprecia. Y ahora empiezas en el holiday, cabrón, ¿no? Un saludo. Vale, pues tenemos momentum, volatilidad apuntando para abajo, momentum todavía está para arriba y tenemos esto, los promedios en orden. Ahora, ¿qué pasó la última vez? Tocamos la media en la trimestral. Eso nos da un 61.8% de probabilidad de venir a la media, que son los 164,920. Podría ser, porque esto falla 33% de las veces, una de tres. Entonces, podría ser esta una que falla y no lleguemos a los 164. Podría, hay una tercera parte de probabilidades que eso sea. De no darse y de darse el fallo, 91,000 dólares sería nuestro siguiente primer objetivo. El segundo sería la parte baja de la zona azul en 80,000 dólares. Y ya de ahí, pues te puedes imaginar, el 50% nos haría llevarnos básicamente los mínimos pasados y estaríamos ya en 73,000 dólares. Y eso nos pondría ya en tesitura de romper la tendencia trimestral alcista, mínimo de acá hasta acá. Entonces tendríamos que poner atención por ahí. Vamos a la mensual, y esto es lo que les había dicho. Hija de puta, la volatilidad nos había dicho, no, ya vamos para arriba, pero ahora vean esto. La volatilidad mensual está preparando el movimiento más agresivo de toda la historia. Nunca había estado tan abajo. Vean. Nunca. Y esto nos dice que el movimiento que vaya a venir va a ser potente. Podría ser a la alza, podría ser a la baja. Si es a la baja, el 61.8% sería mi zona y eso está en 70,000 dólares, que es donde está el promedio del 34. De no poder aguantar ahí, mi siguiente objetivo van a ser 43, para que lo sepan. Sería uno tras otro. Pero por ahora estamos todavía por arriba. El promedio del 9 tiene que aguantarnos. Eso se encuentra en 100,000 dólares. Los 102,000 dólares van a ser muy importantes para nosotros. Ahorita van a ver por qué. Pero por ahora continuamos en esta tendencia alcista también mensual, con volatilidad contrayendo. ¿Qué noticias hay? Le están diciendo a la gente que le pregunten a Grok y a ChatGPT cuál es el sentimiento del mercado antes de hacer un trade. No mames. Sí, por favor, háganle caso. Alcista, hasta acá, lo que nos gustaría para poder mantener la tendencia alcista, y quiero que poner esto para que lo tengamos sin que yo la cague. Tenemos que, siempre y cuando no nos llevemos en la mensual los 74 para abajo, o sea, 75,000 dólares para abajo, continuamos en tendencia alcista. Pero si rompes los 75,000, rompes la tendencia alcista. Y eso te pondría ya en altos más bajos y bajos más bajos, lo que es una tendencia bajista y podría ser el bear market de cada 4 años que ocurre, o podría ser, no sé, una recesión, o una vez más, simple comportamiento de Bitcoin, o un ajuste gigante, por alguna razón que no podemos ver ahorita. En la de 2 semanas, para voltear la tendencia más para abajo, tenemos que perder los 98,000 dólares. 98,000 dólares lo pueden ver acá, es este mínimo que tuvimos. Si perdemos los 98,000 dólares, nuestro espacio ya nos pone entre o aguantas los 74 o te vas para abajo. Es literalmente así de sencillo. Entonces, los 98,000 dólares se vuelven muy importantes para nosotros. Pero, atentos, la parte baja de la zona azul, en la de 2 semanas, acabamos de cerrar esto. Déjenme quito el HPDR para que lo vean. Esta se me hace de las más importantes de todas. Acabamos de cerrar y déjenme, ¿saben qué? Quito todos los promedios menos el 9. Quiero que vean esto. ¿Qué pasa cuando cierras en la de 2 semanas por debajo del 9, que es la línea azul? Caída. ¿Cuánta fue la caída de la parte donde cerró la vela? Cerró aquí hasta el fondo, 20%. ¿Ok? Desde entonces no has vuelto a cerrar por debajo. Esta vela cerró por debajo de y ahora estás abriendo por debajo del promedio del 9 en la de 2 semanas. ¿Ok? Eso para mí es muy importante porque, una vez más, ve todo el camino que te aventaste desde acá abajo, ¿no? Que esto fue ya en septiembre, el setup de Hamas de los $27,000. Estuviste por encima del 9 todo este tiempo en la de 2 semanas. En el primer cierre por debajo fue este. ¿Cuánto caíste después? 20%. Desde entonces lo recuperaste y no caíste hasta acá. Ahora, digamos, porque usamos siempre el cierre, ¿no? Que fue el primero en cerrar ahí. 20% nos ponen una caída hasta $86,000. $86,000 en la mensual y en la trimestral no rompe estructura alcista. Pero en la de 2 semanas, sí. Porque lo que estarías haciendo es creando un bajo más bajo que este. Y ahí es donde empezamos a ver, ok, y de ahí vamos a aguantar o y después vamos a rebotar como lo hemos hecho todas las veces, o ese es el final. Y esa es cosa que vamos a tener que ver. Vamos a tener que ver, tenemos que esperar. Otra cosa también que vale la pena notar es la de 2 semanas nos hizo el mismito juego de ya vamos a chingar con pum y para abajo, güey, debajo del 15% en volatilidad, preparando un cero potente. Con eso puesto en la mesa, entendamos que nuestra media en la de 2 semanas está en $130,000. Faltan 2 semanas para cerrar esta vela. Nuestro promedio, el 9, que es muy importante, está por encima de nosotros en los 110, 204. Y ahora sí ya puedo poner mis demás promedios. El 5 no, porque para estas temporalidades me da igual. No, pero voy a poner el 5 porque lo que me dice es debilidad. Una vez que el 5 baje por debajo del 9, ahí es donde empiezo a sentir esa debilidad y pues ahí se frió todo. Por ahora, estando por debajo del promedio del 9, tenemos una gran posibilidad, el 61.8% de probabilidades de venir a los 102, 142. No nada más eso, el pivote de momentum en la tabla mensual está en los 102 también. Eso quiere decir que 102 es un área que va a venir a ser retesteada a huevo. O que, bueno, no a huevo, nada tiene que ser a huevo, pero que tiene una alta probabilidad de venir a ser retesteada. Y eso simplemente sería el primer paso de todo lo que se vaya a dar. Y es lo que vamos a estar buscando en estos trades que vamos a tener preparados para ustedes. La otra cosa que estamos viendo por acá es también en la semanal, volatilidad para abajo. Esto quiere decir que en todas las temporalidades se está preparando algo. Si la de 2 semanas está cayendo y nos da preferencia de venir a la parte baja del 38.2%, acá lo que continuaría sería el 61.8%. Y eso está en $99,000, ¿no? Si llegas a perder el promedio del 34 semanal, que está en los 102. 102, 102, 102, 102. ¿Ok? Vamos a la de 5 días. 5 días. Tenemos, si somos alcistas y no queremos ver más para abajo, no podemos llevarnos este mínimo. Si nos llevamos a este mínimo, el 34 probablemente lo vayamos a destruir como gelatina y vamos a ir al 61.8%, una vez más en los 102. Además, como en todas las demás temporalidades, tienes volatilidad nula. Esto por debajo del 15%. Esto quiere decir que también nos está preparando un setup gigante. Una vez más, esto puede ser a la alza o puede ser a la baja. Todavía no sabemos. Pero por ahora, nosotros estamos viendo qué movimiento nos va a dar a corto plazo. Voy a ponerla de 3 días. 3 días, estás a punto de tener el cruce. No. Ya lo tuviste, donde el 5 está por debajo del 9 y el 21. Esto es debilidad pura y dura. Y ahora está a punto de cruzar el 34 con otro cierre por debajo de $110,000. Estamos ya en la parte del 61.8%. Abajo. El 78.6% es el siguiente objetivo, que son los $102,000. $102,000. Y acá tienes el EMA 100 en los 98. 102, 98. 98 podría ser el bait, ¿ok? Para todos. Por acá en la diaria tenemos volatilidad expandiendo, pero no es clara la dirección. Simplemente nos está dando este tipo de movimiento. Por acá tienes el cruce plateado a la baja, acá, y esto te dice, cada que vengas a tocar este cruce plateado, el promedio del 9, es oportunidad de hacerle un corto. ¿Dónde está el promedio del 9 junto con el EMA 100? En los 100,400 a 100,700. Y también tienes que checar en tus exchanges. Esto es un gráfico diario para que se acuerden. Y esto es lo que todo el mundo le está dando preferencia ahorita. Por eso lo que están escuchando de Farhan y de Alex. Decir que aquí es donde vamos a encontrar eso. La media está en los 111,334. Para mí la zona más jodida sería esta. Porque si todo el mundo simplemente está aplicando lo que todos sabemos, que es ahí está el promedio del 100, ahí está el promedio de este, se nos olvida que podríamos venir tranquilamente a esta línea meme resistencia, pum, la rompes para abajo, retesteo y ahí te dé el putazo para abajo. Yo, Alejandro Salomón, sí, así se llama el humano, tengo aquí mi orden. No me importa jugar aquí abajo. No importa. Ya jugué el rebote, me salió bien. Estoy ahí. Y ahora quiero este extremo. Porque si me da este extremo y cae y no me llevo este máximo, aquí está mi invalidación en los 113, ¿qué son? Vamos a ver. 113,500. Si no me llevo eso, o me lo llevo sucio, ¿no? Tantito, y después caigo, ya chingué. Porque voy a agarrar el movimiento hasta los 102. Y el 101 está el SMA 200 diario. Para simplificar esto, para todos ustedes, déjenme me salgo este gráfico y los traigo a este, que es el más limpio de todos. Y acá pueden ver los niveles. Ya tuvimos el trade de acá que nos salió de huevos. Para los que estuvieron aquí el viernes y que no están perdiendo el tiempo en pendeja. O sea, brother, viendo otros bros que no tienen idea. No, no es cierto. Si no tomaste el dinero fácil de este trade, está bien, no tienes por qué tener FOMO. Ahorita la idea de todo el mundo es esta zona, en los 110. Y entiendo, técnicamente tienen razón, pero técnicamente Bitcoin es un hijo de puta, por lo que el tío Salo va a querer abrir acá en los 112, 112,100. Esa es mi zona de rechazo. Aquí es donde yo quiero que esto haga así, te diga como que estás bien, te haga esto para eliminar a toda la gente que entró acá y ahí ya llevarnos a la verga. Eso es lo que más tiene cara. Y estamos equivocados si nos llevamos los 113,500 a la alza y ya. Te llevas los 113,510 a la alza y tienes que verlo en tu exchange también. Esto quiere decir que tienes probabilidades de venir hasta los 100. Primero, la resistencia meme en los 116,200, que sería mi segunda opción para hacer corto, porque nadie esperaría ese nivel, esperaría en los 117 por alguna razón, no sé, por este máximo de acá. Esperaría en los 117,400, que fue también el máximo que agarramos para el corto. Entonces, somos bajistas de las tablas, son alcistas en la trimestral, en la mensual. En la de 2 semanas, semanal, 5 días, 3 días, 2 días, diaria, tienes cruces plateados a la baja. Y recuerda, yo sé que también jugaron con esto, ¿no? Agosto es el mes más bajista del mercado. ¿Y cómo le fue al mercado? De huevos. Y ahorita todo el mundo está, septiembre es un mes bajista para Bitcoin. No los quiero revolver, pero cuando todo el mundo está de acuerdo en algo y todo el mundo se dio cuenta de que todo el mundo diciendo que agosto es el mes más bajista de Bitcoin y no lo fue, ahorita que les están diciendo septiembre es el mes más bajista de Bitcoin, existe la probabilidad de que juegue al revés, porque la gente ya jugó del otro lado. ¿Me entiendes? Ganamos los que sabíamos. En cuanto yo veo a ciertas cuentas poner, van a ver, agosto se los va a llevar la verga, que llevan cantando un market crash de no sé cuánto tiempo y que todos los meses hay un puto market crash, ¿no? Pon una puta fecha a tus predicciones, tío. Deja de volver a la gente loca y a ti mismo. Y si fallas, fallas. Pero el jugar de va a venir, llegué 2 años tarde, la cagué, güey, ¿no? La cagué. Yo sabía que Bitcoin iba a volver a subir, la cagué en el 2021 en ese ciclo. Sí, subió después y la chingada y ahorita está en... Sí, pero la cagué en ese ciclo. Es importante ponerte fechas y objetivos para saber cuándo te equivocas y ser lo suficientemente humilde para entender, ok, me equivoqué, ¿cuál fue la razón? ¿Por qué? Para volverte mejor. Y es lo que queremos todos. Y cuando veo que toda la gente que no aprende nada vuelve a regresar a otro tipo de... me empieza a vender el mismo tipo de show, tengo que entender que tengo que jugar en contra de. ¿Me entiendes? No estoy jugando en contra del sistema, estoy jugando en contra de los jugadores que no saben jugar. Y eso funciona muy bien. Esto tiene cara de que ahora sí que cuando te dicen septiembre es horrible para Bitcoin, sí vaya a jalar. Y puede esto y para abajo. O puede esto y para abajo. Y una vez más, estamos mal si nos llevamos los 113,500. Ahí ya sabes si te volteas alcista. Y de ahí disfrutas de aquí para acá. Y ya. Y es lo mejor de todo, porque tu invalidación acá está en corto acá. Tus invalidaciones de acá abajo, bueno, ya no estás tan en corta, estás en 109 a 107, son $2,000. Entonces, pongan atención a lo que viene y voy a ponerles rápido la dominancia de Tether. Una vez más, continúa en tendencia alcista, mínimo, mínimo más alto, alto, alto más alto y continúa por encima del promedio del 100 en la diaria. Tuviste 1, 2 y un tercer cierre por encima del promedio del 100 me daría un objetivo del S&P 200 en los 4.80%. Yo sería un movimiento de llevarte a Bitcoin a los 98, $92,000, dependiendo cuánto se dé. Pero este movimiento ya lo habíamos cantado, que viene hasta acá. O sea, aquí tienen la marca de cuál era el movimiento, hasta dónde. Cabrón, bórrate. Ahí está, para no tenerlo. Honestamente, el mercado está jugando en forma fácil ahorita. Gracias al cielo. Vamos a ver la dominancia de Bitcoin, que también, una vez más, está aguantando mi zona. Está aguantando mi zona. Pero cuando lo vemos en la mensual, tuvimos un muy mal cierre para la dominancia de Bitcoin. Y una vez más, esto no quiere decir alt season. Aguantó el promedio del 21 acá. Podríamos regresar tranquilamente hasta los 61.5% y de ahí para arriba, claro. Pero esto ya no te está dando un alt season. Esto ya es solamente Ethereum. Siento que Ethereum es lo que se está llevando este lado del trade de la dominancia de Bitcoin. No creo que sea nada más. Y simplemente mientras más lo veo y más lo veo, más sentido tiene. Entonces, toda la gente esperando alt season. No sé si ustedes tengan esto. Esto es lo que yo uso para usarlo como un gauge, que me funciona muy bien. Compré 3 moneditas que son muy populares. Y no meme coins, o sea, de las que la gente sí cree que van a funcionar algún día, que tampoco van a funcionar ningún día, para tenerlas en mi portafolio. Estoy hablando de cantidades muy pequeñas de dinero. Y eso son altcoins. Normalmente cuando alt season revienta, esas madres ya están arriba. Cuando la gente se da cuenta, ya están arriba. No suben. No pueden. No, nada más no pueden. Y también los NFTs pendejos que compro, no suben. Nada más no. Este es el ciclo del 2017 para mí en Bitcoin y Ethereum. Alt season es muy diferente porque no hay dinero gratis. Cuando no hay dinero gratis en cantidades gigantescas, no tienes, una vez más, la lógica de esto es muy sencilla. En cuanto tienes un chingo de dinero, lo primero que vas a hacer es comprar un coche, luego una casa, ¿no? Que es primero para qué te alcanza. Si te alcanza para la casa y el coche, los vas a comprar al mismo tiempo. De ahí, ¿qué más vas a comprar si tienes más dinero? Acciones. De ahí, ¿qué más vas a comprar si tienes más dinero aparte de acciones? Criptos. Vas a comprar Bitcoin y Ethereum. ¿Y qué vas a hacer si tienes aún más dinero? Te vas a meter en pendejos NFTs o meme coins o estupideces así, ¿no? vas a comprar tus fotos de changuito. ¿Qué pasa cuando te quitan todo tu dinero? ¿Qué es lo primero que vendes? No la casa, no el coche. Las fotos del changuito es lo que menos necesitas. ¿Ok? ¿Y qué es lo segundo que vendes? Tus criptos. Y luego tus acciones. Y luego tu coche. Y luego la casa. No hay dinero para los changuitos todavía. No hay. Y eso es alt season, cabrones. Y solamente lo digo por... Yo sé que la avaricia nos gana. Solamente quiero que piensen si en verdad se está dando eso para que te gane la avaricia, porque ahí es donde cometemos errores. Y lo único que no quiero es que pase eso. Entonces ahí lo tienen. Puesto muy sencillito. Sencillito, tíos. Bitcoin, lo único, en mi opinión, va a retestear, y también, de acuerdo a lo que dice Farhan y Alex, va a retestear. Ellos dicen, y yo le haría caso a ellos, no a mí. Recuerden, yo estoy aprendiendo como ustedes. Yo nada más estoy traduciendo y dando mi opinión de pendejo, porque es a lo que me dedico, a decir puras pendejadas. Ellos ven esta zona justamente acá en los 110, 800, 110, 700 como la zona de rechazo. Yo lo veo aquí arriba en los 112, 100. 112, 100 hasta 113. Y luego 113, 500 es donde estamos mal. Eso quiere decir, si es alcista esto, tiene que romper 113, 500 con convicción, deshacer el cruce plateado a la baja y vámonos para arriba. Por ahora tienes el 34 ya por encima del 55 y del 21, el 9 por debajo del 100. Esto es debilidad pura y dura. Cualquier cosa puede pasar, pero una vez más, sabemos cuál es el movimiento. Pum, pum. O pum, pum. Y estamos mal en el pum, pum, rompiendo esto. 113,500. Para que lo tengan presente. Mr. Farhano, let's look at ETH and let's fucking go.
Alrighty. Let's look at Vitalik coin, see if you can afford any new bags.
That dude has so much money, he can buy all the bags in the world now, unfortunately. But yes.
He's got to get some new Birkins for his Asian girlfriend.
They're probably going to get so expensive, since everyone in tech is making like MBA salaries. There's like hundreds of thousands of people making $5-10 million a year. That probably those Birkin bags are going to be worth $30 trillion in the next year or two.
Yeah, I've already seen a couple going for several 100,000. Like,
unbelievable.
I think I'll go buy a Ferrari instead.
All day long, or a fucking just gold watch, dude.
Yeah, something you can play with.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so on hit up Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my boy Charlie Sheen used to do. I used to sell my cars to the same guy that Charlie used to sell the cars that he would buy his horse, because he would have horse for like a month. He would rent them like for 2-3 months, and he would give him a salary, and he would give him a brand new car. But the car remained on Charlie's name, under Charlie's name. And whenever he was done with a whore, he would send her off home after her services, and he would sell the car to my friend Billy. And Billy would always try to flip it to me. Sometimes there were good deals. Yeah.
What a business.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Is it a surprise that bro's got HIV?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
The most legendary interview of all time, where he goes, "Drugs in the house? Oh my God, drugs in the house. We're all gonna die."
Yeah. Charlie Sheen's a fucking goat.
He's like, if there are drugs in the house, give them to me. Winning, I win here, I win there.
Tiger blood, winning. It's fucking incredible.
So Vitalik coin. This on the previous close, we did reject the median, but the median moved down, and then we opened above the median. The last time that this has happened, where we rejected the median and then we opened above it, was, let's see, not here, because we closed above it, so we opened above it. Not here. The last one was right over here in July of 2020. So we ever so slightly closed below the median. The median moved heavily to the downside. We opened above it. We got a nice wick down to test the 5 EMA. And then the next candles, we started having some insane busting action to the top 38.2%. We went higher than 38.2%. We went all the way to the 61.8%. Within, I want to say 2, 4, 6, 8 months. Within the next 8 months, we did this much of a percentage move. 1,000% in 8 months. Not bad. That is what, like 10x on your money? Not bad in spot. Right now, if you were to play out the same move, that would give us a move slightly down to somewhere around the median to the 5 EMA. The 5 EMA right now lines up perfect with my meme line. That gives us a range between $3,850 and $3,565. That number is going to seem very scary to people because whenever you throw the threes around, they get really upset for some reason. But in reality, this is only a 10% move down to the median. This is like what, 10, 11%? Not much. And then if you come down to this meme line, that's like 17% down. Really 17, 18%. In a crypto, 17, 18% to go down is not really anything to like sneeze or anything to be super impressed with. We see Bitcoin moves down 15% over a month span all the time. We've seen Bitcoin go down like 50% in a month before. So Ethereum, which is a shitcoin, not really that crazy to get it move into the threes. I've seen a couple of people on Twitter also publicly posting like very large shorts, and there's nothing but hate in the comments. People are like, "I hope you get liquidated. I hope you lose all your money." It's
I
a
like that.
very big flag that we're probably going to go into the threes. How much is ETH down so far from the all-time highs? Only 11%. So if you were to take it there, that'd be 20%. This would be just traditional market's bear market, but not for crypto. And
Yeah.
about not even 30% down from all-time highs to test that 5 EMA. Very, very, very tranquilo move. Whenever Bitcoin did its major corrections this year, it did an average of 30 to 33% of the downside. We haven't had that real correction yet since all-time highs on Ethereum, and that this wouldn't even be 30% down to that 5 EMA. I think the real trade right here is going to be max longing somewhere with low leverage between the median and the 5 EMA, and aiming for let's give a more relevant target because I don't want to say 10,000 and be like everybody else.
Oh,
Somewhere around $7,900 to $8,000 would be the area to max de-risk. I wouldn't want to wait for 10,000 and be one of those guys waiting for 100K Bitcoin. Because I think 8,000 is good enough. Let's see how much of a percent that is from here.
it's like 100. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say that's good enough. If you're on a 5x, I think you're pretty happy with your results.
Yeah, just a 500. That Tomatito can do that in just a $2 move now.
Well, if anyone but Tomatito, you'll be happy with that move.
Okay.
I got to make a separate terminology for him.
It's a parenthesis on everything because he cannot just be grouped into everything else.
Got to add the asterisk.
That's right.
2 month, any divergence? No. Volatility is still approaching lows at extreme lows. So with momentum pointing to the upside, volatility is still down. Doesn't really tell you you're going to be getting busting action from here. A lot more likely that you're going to come back down, retest at least your median, but I'm thinking lower to the 5 EMA. So wherever that median 5 EMA is, whenever we start to move down, it's possible we don't do it in this candle, and then the 5 EMA rises and it meets the median. But if we get to move down in this 2-month candle, I do think we're going to go to the 5, because that's where we usually like to test at a minimum on these corrective moves. On this one, we made an attempt at another high, and we corrected right off that 5. The jewel on the 2-month has now lost the sell signal and flipped over into a neutral signal. The last time we lost the sell signal on the jewel on the 2-month was right over here, right off of the bottom in summer of 2023. Started to switch around into a neutral signal and then flipped into a buy signal. Went from about $1,500 to over $4,000. Monthly is still flipped to the upside on momentum, getting close to getting into the bullish control zone. Volatility is now going into an expansion phase, getting above the moving average, and we've still got a buy signal on the jewel right off of the edge of the bearish control zone. No, there's no divergence. We are sitting at resistance right now, right at the top of that 38.2%. If we do continue to hold off of reject this 38.2%, we will likely get a move down to somewhere around the 9 EMA. Right now, the 9 sits very nicely with somewhere it's around my mean line, right around that $3,500 to $3,300 area. That would be quite a scary crash on Ethereum from around almost $5,000 down to $3,300, $3,500.
I guess because everyone's a pussy. But yeah, there's no other explanation, right?
And the correct term is not crash. I forgot. My bad. It's correction.
It's just a correction, okay?
Just a quick correction.
You keep telling everyone about a crash.
It's a quick correction to zero and then new all-time highs.
By the way, I have you know, I put a basically I put a prediction just based on what I'm doing, which is end of the year, first quarter of next year, they'll say we're in a recession and the stock market will reflect it, etc. Right? And everyone's like, you keep promising a crash. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's only then. Not every day. What the fuck is everyone talking about? People are so confused. They need to listen.
They don't understand time frames.
Yeah, they need to listen. They need to pay attention instead of just listening to the angry voice inside of them, which is probably their little penis talking to them. It's very angry.
There's been people who don't understand the time frames who saw the long we had posted before whenever we started going up to like 113s, and since it didn't hit 114, didn't close the long, and the entry for the short was 114. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna hold the long because the short entry didn't hit, and then lost a bunch of money, and then DM'd me about it.
It's a nightmare. Yeah.
And then I explained that it doesn't necessarily have to hit the entry for the short. It should just tell you that it's a bearish bias.
Yeah, it's it's obvious, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, I gotta remember a lot of these things are not obvious to most people.
Yeah, you gotta over-explain sometimes, and even then, by the way.
The 2-week is now starting to look very nice and toppy. We got a beautiful little shooting star candle right over here. We have momentum starting to flip to the downside, volatility starting to flip to the downside. On the background, we are close to getting a bullish jewel cross, but this is going to take maybe 1 or 2 candles for that to play out. We could easily get a nice little pullback before that ends up playing out, and then from there get our busting action. And right now, this candle would pullback would give us a target somewhere around 38.2% to the 9 EMA. That sits around $3,700 to like $3,500. Weekly is also looking very toppy. Momentum is now starting to flip down, getting out of the bullish control zone. Volatility is flipping down. There any divergences here? Let's zoom in a little bit. Ever so slightly lower high. Some very slight bearish divergence. It will be confirmed with any close below about 42.58, and that'll give us an easy target of somewhere around this 9 EMA and this median at around $4,000 for a nice psychological figure that likely gives us a little bit of a bounce, but eventually likely coming down to like 3,500. And the weekly is now starting to lose this buy signal. 5-day also basically the same idea as the weekly, putting in that bearish divergence, momentum volatility is pointing down, 5 days giving you a sell signal. Median would be sitting somewhere around $3,900 to $4,000 for a little bounce. Maybe you go all the way up to 4,100, not sure. But then the next target is that 55, right around 35, 36. Today is now starting to freshly flip back up, getting right at the moving average. Hasn't exactly flipped over the moving average just yet, but it's very close. Volatility is now sitting at 0%. So actually, technically, it's not flipped up because it's still below the moving average. It's just close. And the jewel is now just giving us a very bearish signal with the pink just about to cross below the yellow. They're like kissing right now. It's only above by 0.1 above the yellow. So very likely within the next closure in how many days? 8 hours and 30 minutes, this is going to cross down. And see what we had last time whenever we had this cross. Put it right here. The date is December of 2024. Interesting. Right off of our all-time highs and our inauguration.
Oh yeah.
Everyone got the presidential liquidation.
You got liquidated. Everybody gets liquidated. They love it. They love getting liquidated, let me tell you. That Alejandro, he gets liquidated often by me. Not really,
Not-
Mr. President.
not-
I wait now.
Not many people got liquidated on Trump. Let me tell you, Trump made a lot of money. But then they put it into Melania. Melania, not so good, not so good.
Let me tell you, those people got fucked. They
Just
don't
like
to get
me
fucked.
by Melania. I mean, what's wrong? You don't like getting fucked by Melania?
Oh man, that'd be quite a ride. It's like riding a fucking mechanical bull with all the experience in the world.
This one, not really much. 3%. That's a move for ants. About 7.5. This one was even less. Wait, now you measure it from the open. About 3%, 3.5%. That seems to be the low end number. Very small moves for a 2-day setup. So far, we're down roughly 3%. How much down is that 21? I'm interested. About 10%. That would be deeper than the other ones. Let's go to the daily. Daily is currently flipped to the upside. Volatility is now approaching extreme lows. Actually, is at extreme lows, approaching zero. It's sitting at about 6% right now. Jewel's still giving you a sell signal. Starting to reject the median, getting your 5 EMA crossing below the 9, sitting right around that 21. 21 is the area where if we lose it, we're likely to get a nice little dump ski. Closure below somewhere around 43.70, probably going to quickly dump to that 55, right around 3,900 to 4,000. And you want to see this 100 slowly rise up to match this meme line right around $3,500, and that'd be a perfect little bottom. If you see right over here off of this low, we ended up like tapping this 100, and this is where we got our busting action from. We want to see something like this happen again, where you tap the 100, maybe go slightly below it, and somewhere around this zone, reclaim the 100, and then bust. I'd like to catch this one for once. I usually get sidelined when the Ethereum moves.
Yeah, because looking at fucking Bitcoin all day, but right now it's worth it to look at this.
Because before Ethereum was a giant disappointment, never would do anything.
Yeah.
I bet they did that on purpose. Put in shit price action to get everybody bored with Ethereum, and then send it. But it's not a manipulated market at all, so that's not possible.
No, dude, trust me. You buying your $20 worth of stocks is what moves the market, obviously.
Yeah, we got power.
Yeah, we got a lot of, dude, just think about what the people at Reddit did that one time, but never, ever again were able to do it again. But they did it that one time, so it definitely works. It's fucking amazing.
People believe it.
I know. It's amazing. You know, people laugh at those people that still believe in Santa Claus, but they believe in a million Santa Claus and they have no idea.
There's some funny things people will believe.
Oh yeah, I enjoy it.
Even the 4 hours now in a breakdown. We've lost the 38.2%. We got a back test of that 38.2%. Kind of looks like Magna from here is going to be this 200 right around 4,200, 4,042.20. Probably going to get a reaction from there, maybe a little bit of a bounce. Not sure how high it'll take you. Maybe around like 43 to like 43.50. Don't think you're going to get much higher than there, and I do think you're going to dump further, somewhere around 4,000. Right now, momentum is close, and it is in the bearish control zone, so should see somewhat of a bounce soon. Probably somewhere around that $4,200 zone before you get that bounce, because it likes to go somewhere into the negative 80s before it bounces, and you're only at negative 50. That would be a little bit of a move down from here. In the 4-hour, you do have a bullish dual cross with the pink crossing above the yellow. You're going into a sell signal right now. So if you do lose the low of about 43.60, this setup will likely invalidate. And now let's go into RSI. Come on.
Come on, you cocksucker.
Oh, why am I typing XRP?
It's in your blood.
I just instinctively typed in XRP.
Yeah. I also, when I think about you and altcoins, I think about XRP instantly. So maybe that's all that combined.
I've got a connection with XRP.
Yeah, clearly.
Lost a lot of fucking money on it, so
That's why. It calls your name.
thank you for the liquidity.
Come back.
Trade us again.
Give
Make sure
us
to do
more.
it on 50x. That's what I did though. I didn't use a 50x, but I put in 100K on 30x. Do you remember I posted on my story? I was like $3 million position on XRP, and then didn't get liquidated, but it skipped the stop and took a 65K loss.
Oof. Oof.
Overnight.
Yeah, that's not fun. Been
But
there.
I still like XRP. I still love you, XRP. It wasn't your fault. It was the bankers manipulating the price.
They would never do that.
Now, on the quarterly, we're now putting in a fresh drive of hidden bullish divergence on XRP BTC. This will confirm with any close over about 0.01766. Actually, no, 0.02623. And how much are we above that right now? Pretty close to twice that price right now. And the next target is going to be the neutral zone, which right now the neutral zone sits at about 0.07. That's like an 80% move up from where we are right now, which would correlate at the very least to 80%, if not more, on the US dollar pairing. That sends us, I can't do the math from where we are right now, I think like $7,000, something like that. Monthly, nothing. There is a God mode bicycle on the Jewel, however, on ETH BTC on the monthly. We have never had that ever before. The last time we even had a bicycle, we got a move up of 28%. The previous bicycle before there, where we got above the yellow pink, we never have one like that. The only similar bicycle we have was off of the bear market bottom. ETH to 10,000. Weekly mini drives of bullish divergence. You're already in the critical zone. Not much you can do off of that. I can change. Actually, you're just below it, so that would be at 0.04. It doesn't tell you what the number is afterwards. I hate that. TradingView should add just one more decimal point.
Just one.
All we ask for is one.
That'll solve all my problems. My marriage.
Yeah, I'll be profitable and
my health problems.
I'll no longer have diabetes. 2 days got 3 drives of bearish divergence currently active. Going to be active as long as you're closing below 0.4069. That's a nice number. And your next target is the edge of the bullish control zone, which right now sits at, wonderful. I can't see what number is after that, but somewhere around 0.03. That's a nice move down, assuming that that's not 0.039. That's the problem with not knowing what the other decimal point is. Daily is currently got, I'm sorry?
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just got a little confused because I'm retarded. Daily has active 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. This is going to be active as long as you're closing over 0.03928. And your next target is that simple moving average, which right now is at, I can't see what the number is. Somewhere around 0.4s, which we're already over right now. You need to know what the next number would be, the next decimal. It'll be easier on the US dollar pairing for these RSI targets. 4-hour currently has 3 drives of hidden bearish divergence. This will be active as long as you're closing below 0.04092. And your next target is the bearish control zone, which right now sits at somewhere in the 3s. Now we will go over to the US dollar pairing, use Bitstamp. US dollar pairing is also now putting in hidden bullish divergence on the quarterly. And this will confirm with any close over about 2,880. Pretty safe to say that we'll probably close over 2,880 on this monthly close. If we come all the way down to the 5 EMA, we'll still be over that number. That's sitting on the quarterly at around like $3,000 to $3,100. Assuming we do confirm it, that would give us an easy target of hitting the bullish control zone, which right now is at about $6,500. The critical zone is a number that probably not going to be relevant because it's sitting at $18,000. Probably Ethereum is not going to $18,000 this cycle, so this number I think is likely going to update. Quarterly is still in volatility contraction. Monthly has got many drives of hidden bullish divergence. Let's actually check the 2-month first because we just closed. Oh, interesting. 2-month just confirmed a drive of regular bullish divergence off of this closure right here. That's cool. With the jewel losing the sell signal, volatility now going into expansion from what percentage? 20%. It's the lowest percent volatility Ethereum has ever had. And that divergence would give us a target of the critical zone, which right now is at, it's going to update in 2 months because I don't think we're going to this number in 2 months. $11,152. I think it's a little unlikely in 2 months. That's like almost 3x on price. Monthly divergence would be a target of the bullish control zone. Right now, that bullish control zone target is at about $5,000, $49.73. Basically, just our current all-time high retest. 2-week also has hidden bullish divergence. This will be active as long as you're closing over 4,064. Next target is the critical zone, and that level sits at about 72.82. I don't think we're going to go to there off of this divergence. I think likely this divergence will be invalidated. Nothing there. 3 days got hidden bullish divergence too, although this one also kind of seems like it's going to be invalidated. This one will invalidate with a close below 42.58. And then if it does get invalidated, you would be targeting the neutral zone, which is at a number I like to see at 36.30. 2 days got multiple drives of bearish divergence. This will be active as long as you're closing below 46.63. Next target is the edge of the bullish control zone, right around that 4,200 number that we saw before, that we're likely going to get a bounce at. And then the next level is the neutral zone, which is at about 3,700. I like that. Daily also has many drives of bearish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing below 44.98. Next target is going to be neutral zone, which right now is at 43, and then the bearish control zone, 3,600. Lovely. Bear Jesus giveth and taketh. 4 hours now putting in a third drive of hidden bearish divergence. This is going to confirm with any close below about 43.83. That'll give you an easy target of hitting the bearish control zone, which right now is at about 42.50. Some more confluence for a bounce at that area. But since volatility is not coming from extreme lows, probably going to go to the critical zone. That level sits at 3,700. Does it line up? That 42s lines up with that 200 on the 4 hour for a little bounce. Now let's go to momentum. Come on. Quarterly on Ethereum is still pointed to the upside, freshly pointed up, rejecting getting out of the bullish control zone. And it's going to be pointed up as long as you're closing over 36.75. Interesting pivot. Huh. We got RSI targets from $36 to $3,700. And Bitcoin just tested the quarterly pivot. Ethereum has not yet done that. Monthly, let's do the 2 month first. And you already know it. Every single influencer and their mothers is getting bullish as fuck after this 2 month candle close.
Of course.
This was 77% to the upside in one candle. So yeah, not too crazy to see a little bit of a pullback after a 77% move up. Not very crazy, not very out of the line. And momentum is currently, however, pointed to the upside with volatility expanding, and it will be pointed up as long as you're over another beautiful number, 3750. Meme line right here is right around like $3,800. The 5 EMA sits at about $3,500. This is where I do think we'll come to, is that 5 EMA. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news if you're max long on Ethereum. If you're holding spot, then you probably don't care. Monthly currently still flipped to the upside. Volatility is expanding from about just at that 15% zone, and you'll be pointed up as long as you're closing over 1777, and you're projected on this next close to enter into the bullish control zone. 2 week is currently pointed up as well. Volatility is still expanding, and you're going to be pointed up as long as you're over 2950, entering into the critical zone on this next open. This is the first time Ethereum is going to be entering into the critical zone and not just rejecting it. In here, we entered it for a little bit, immediately rejected it though in February. That was when we went to 4,000 at the beginning. The time where we stayed in the critical zone was in 2020, when Ethereum went from like $300 to 4,800. I'd like to have that one on a 10x.
Yeah, my God.
Ben Baller put 75K into Ethereum at like $600, and then he posted a screenshot of him at like 1.1 mil in the 4,000s.
Oh yeah. Oh, but he bought a lot of his money came from, he got Bitcoin really cheap.
Yeah, because he used to sell his jewelry for that.
Mm-hmm.
Weekly's got a fresh sliver across to the upside on the US dollar pairing on Ethereum. We have gotten the retest of the 9. Right now, momentum is freshly flipped to the downside on the weekly, with volatility now sitting at extremes. It's likely going to get your mean reversion move now, with volatility starting to flip below the moving average, and momentum is flipped down. Seeing that we got volatility expansion on such a massive move to the upside, probably going to see a little downside from here with volatility contracting and momentum flip down. Although that does tell you you're probably going to find a higher low and then continue up from there. And right now, you will be flipped down as long as you're closing below 45.75. 5 days also flipping down, already starting the volatility contraction, and you'll be flipped down as long as you're closing below 46.9250. 2-day also flipped to the downside. Volatility is now very close to completely resetting, and it's going to be flipped down as long as you're below 47.8050. Daily also flipped to the downside with volatility contraction. Every single time frame has volatility contraction that momentum to the downside. Damn, it really is Ethereum's market. And it's going to be flipped down as long as you're below 45.4050, let's say. Still putting in, it still has possible hidden bullish divergence because you're still closing over 4,075, and that's right now, to confirm it, you would have to close over 44.98. So basically $4,500 to confirm that divergence, and that'll take us up back to all-time highs. I don't think that'll happen, however. Eventually, but not now.
God, you're so negative.
Damn, I'm sorry to switch over from the hopium. Can't give you too much of that hopium or you get addicted.
I'm already hooked on it, man.
Well, then I guess I'm gonna have to switch over to George for a second.
Oh boy.
All right,
Here,
Ethereum's going to $15,000 today.
No. All he's been is our big move up approaching.
And then he'll just say, I wasn't talking about the short time frames.
Yeah, of course not. But it's approaching. But just not in short time frames. It's approaching. It's a long-term thing. It's approaching, dude. God.
And then in 2030, when it does, he'd be like, you see, I told you.
Told you it was approaching.
4 hours now getting a nice breakdown with the volatility starting to expand, getting above the moving average from extreme lows, and momentum is pointed down as long as you're closing below 44.75. That would give you that target of that 200 right around 42s. The higher time frames are starting up to be extremely bullish on Ethereum right now. We're putting in hidden bullish divergence on the dollar pairing and the Bitcoin pairing. We have momentum freshly pointed to the upside on the quarterly, and the monthly is now flipped to the upside. I believe the 2-week was also flipped to the upside. Let me make sure. Yeah, 2-week is flipped to the upside. Only does it start to flip down on the weekly and below. And every single time frame where it is flipped down, you're getting volatility contraction. So right now, my idea is on the higher time frames, since we did get some very nice closures, I do think we are going to get a retest of somewhere around our 5 EMA on the 2-month, which puts us around $3,500 to $3,600. Take out everybody who just longed after getting a 77% move to the upside, and reconnect with our 5 EMA, make it a higher low, put in some hidden bullish divergences, and then send it up to our current all-time highs, just like we did in the past, in the 2022 run. I mean, in the 2020 run, wherever we closed below the median and then opened above it, we tested that down to the 5, and then we ran up to the 38.2%. I do think something like that's going to happen. I'm not saying $10,000. Wherever the 38.2% is at that time, it was going to be our target. Right now it's at 10,000, but it's going to move on every single monthly open. The invalidation right now, let's switch down. For the move down, is going to be getting any tick above our all-time highs, 49.55. Any tick above that, and the idea of the move down is going to be at that time invalidated. We're going to have to reevaluate. And the invalidation for long-term bullishness, I'd say it's going to be difficult because you went up so rapidly. I'd say a tick below 21.15 or a close on the weekly below about 33.55. Those two things would invalidate my long-term bullishness, and then I'd be looking for a much deeper pullback. Although I do think we will bounce somewhere around $35 to $3,700, and from there I think we go to all-time highs, and I think we do it pretty quickly. I think we're going to do one of those 2022 moves where we do the entirety of the move in like a couple of months.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. Well, that's it, senor. Go and enjoy your American holiday in Mexico.
I'll just lounge around and do nothing in the spirit of Labor Day.
Good. As you should. That's the proper way of celebrating.
Even though I do that every day.
You're celebrating Labor Day every day. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
I respect the laborers.
Yeah, I would celebrate Christmas every day if I could. But I just don't have the energy. Anything else you'd like to point out, say, before you go?
Keep an eye on the Academy alerts. If that short fills, it is going to be a very, very nice one because it has pretty tight invalidation, and it's one of those extremity shorts that you likely will get a reaction whether we're going to be bullish or bearish.
Agreed. Enjoy your day, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Muchas gracias from Cochiloco, and have a
hasta luego, Cochiloco.
Buenos tardes and hasta luego.
Ok, estamos viendo Ethereum. Rapidísimo, esto es lo que habíamos dicho el viernes. Y un poco queda como exactamente lo que habíamos dicho en el análisis de hoy también. ¿Por qué? Porque habíamos tenido este nuevo alto histórico y después viste que el precio se paró, tuvo literalmente este movimiento y ahora está siendo rechazado la tabla semanal por el promedio del 5. Ahora esto acaba de abrir, entonces no hay mucho que agregar. Habíamos puesto como objetivo mínimo los 4,000, 3,992, pero vamos a platicar de esto para poder ponerlo en contexto para la gente que tal vez no vio esto, el stream pasado y volverlo a empezar, ¿no? Básicamente. Voy a empezar en la trimestral con Ethereum, damas y caballeros. Pueden ver la fuerza alcista que lleva esta cosa. Habíamos estado atrapados en esto desde, puta madre, abril del 2020, ¿no? Hasta básicamente julio del 2025. 5 añitos en esta compresión de precio, en este rango de precio, y ahora explota la alza. Había dado un fake out a la baja, lo pueden ver acá, que nos rescató el 34, y eso fue literalmente el fondo de Ethereum, cuando dijeron todos que ya nadie lo quería, etcétera. Eso fue justo lo que fue. Y fue en $1,385 en este miniciclo de Ethereum. Y ahora estamos cotizando en 4,358. Nada mal, que es un 3X. Vamos a ver. Desde aquí a donde estamos hoy, un 2X, al tope un 2,5. Nada mal. Sobre todo estás hablando de meses, ¿no? Desde abril hasta ahorita, quien haya hecho esto hizo 2, 3 veces, casi 2.5 veces su dinero. Nada mal. Ahora, ¿qué tenemos? Tenemos bajos más altos en toda esta tabla, toda, hasta acá, porque es más alto que este bajo. Y tenemos altos más altos en toda la tabla. Esto lo pone en una tendencia alcista. La cosa también es, Ethereum viene del punto más bajo de toda la historia en su volatilidad. Lo pueden ver acá, literalmente, en su volatilidad trimestral. Y tiene cara que quiere expandir. Ahora, para esto faltan 29 días para poder cerrar esta vela con 9 horas. Así que vamos a tenerle paciencia. No vamos a poner toda la cebolla en el caldo en este momento. Güey, eso ni siquiera existe. Pero aún así lo quise decir. Les voy a poner el HBDR para que lo puedan ver. Discúlpenme, ahora estoy más loco que nunca. Cuando creían que las drogas me volvían loco, dejar las drogas me ha vuelto más loco. ¿Quién lo fuera a imaginar? Ok. Podemos ver que todavía no hemos llegado a la media. Nuestra media se encuentra en los 5,891, justamente aquí arriba de mis targets. Recuerden que yo tengo mis objetivos en el 5,400 y arriba en los 6,500. Esos son mis objetivos siguientes para Ethereum. Por ahora estamos por debajo de la media, buscando esa media. Y el movimiento correcto después de rebotar justamente en el 9 y estar donde estamos sería ir a testear esa media en los 5,891, $5,900. Eso es la trimestral. Vamos a la mensual. Mensual, puedes ver que estamos abriendo por debajo de la zona azul, pero habíamos cerrado por encima de la media la vela pasada. Lo pueden ver acá, solamente para que lo vean. Esta es la media, la que viene por acá. Déjenme quito los Trend Wave Catalyst, esta chingadera, para que lo puedan ver sin problema. La media está acá. Y ahora, la media bajó un chingo y abrimos muy por encima de la media. Nuestro objetivo a corto plazo va a ser por acá, pero lo que tal vez esperemos al hacer esto sea un retesteo de acá para después continuar a la alza, romper la media, romper la zona azul, irnos al 50% que está en los $6,000 y de ahí al 61.8%, tal vez en los 8,200. Sería un excelente movimiento de parte de Ethereum. Ahora, no te estoy diciendo que a huevo tiene que caer Ethereum, solamente tiene cara de, y podría simplemente darse la vuelta e irse para arriba, ¿no? Que es lo que todo el mundo está esperando en este momento por verlo tan alcista, y eso es lo que a mí me hace pensar que en él. Además de cómo se ha comportado el precio. Otra cosa que tenemos también por acá es volatilidad expandiendo. Esta expansión de volatilidad es ante estos velazos para arriba y continúa. Solamente está en el 39% y me parece, no venimos del punto más bajo, pero venimos de los puntos más bajos con esta expansión y eso nos está dando estos movimientotes a la alza. Es la mensual. 2 semanas habíamos tenido también expansión ante esta subida buenísima y ahora el 61.8% nos había rechazado, lo que probablemente nos mande a la parte alta de la zona azul, por ahí de los $3,700, y ahorita es donde exactamente van a ver, o el 50% mínimo, que está en los $3,950, y el promedio del 5 también. Semanal estamos por encima de la media, pero estamos siendo rechazados por el promedio del 5 por ahora, antes de tocar la zona azul. Este rechazo nos podría traer a la media y al promedio del 5, que se encuentra justamente en esta línea meme, en los 3,994, casi $4,000. De perderlo, vendríamos para abajo a la parte baja de la zona azul en los 3,376, junto al promedio del 21 semanal. Y ahí es donde probablemente encontremos ese gran rebote que nos lleve a esos altos. Diaria nos pone por debajo de la media. La media está en los 4,400, por debajo de nuestro promedio del 9, que está en los 4,473, debajo de nuestro promedio del 5, y deberíamos de estar buscando el promedio del 34, si cerramos por debajo de todos estos, del 4,470 básicamente, casi 4,500. Y eso nos pone en 4,200. Si llegamos a perder los 4,200, que es la parte baja de la zona azul, el 61.8% debería ser nuestra zona de máxima de más probabilidad, que son, una vez más, los 4,032. Ahora, volatilidad está contrayendo, lo que sugiere que estamos teniendo un ajuste, y es lo que estamos viendo en temporalidades cortas. Pueden ver que esta línea meme que tengo acá era bastante agresiva. Tuvimos la caída, pum, retesteo. Ahora, esto ya se cayó. Esto quiere decir que esta tendencia tan alcistamente agresiva ya no es, pero continúa en tendencia alcista, por supuesto. Ahora, lo que estamos viendo nosotros, y esto es interesante porque en la diaria romperíamos la tendencia, pero no total. Lo que estamos viendo nosotros es esto. Déjame lo pongo en la semanal para que sea más claro y súper fácil de ver, porque son demasiadas cosas. Lo que creemos que va a pasar con Ethereum ahorita es, esto va a caer o al promedio del 9 y rebotar para ir a buscar nuestros siguientes objetivos arriba, que son los 5,500, después los 6,000, hasta posiblemente los 8,000, posiblemente. Yo los 8,000 yo todavía no los tengo planeados, estoy en 6,500, es donde tengo mi tope, 6,400, lo que sea. Aquí lo tengo, ni para qué les cuento mentiras, 6,500. O Farhan dice que él cree que 3,500 sea la zona donde rebote Ethereum, hasta 3,500. Cualquiera de estas dos probabilidades, yo las veo con muy alta, ahora sí que tienen muy alta probabilidad de darse. Yo personalmente voy a abrir acá. Una vez más, Farhan está hablando de esta zona de aquí abajo. Y ahora, la zona del tío Salo es los 3,900, 3,990. Esa zona, para mí, siendo retesteada, es potente y esto nos daría el movimiento para arriba. Pero no voy a meter todo el pollo al asador ahorita, y la razón por qué es porque puede que, no puede que, Farhan normalmente tiene razón, es un excelente trader. Entonces, simplemente por eso pondría la mitad de la fortuna, no, la mitad de mi lana para este trade acá y la otra mitad aquí abajo esperando. Y tengo que hacer mi cálculo de apalancamiento para no cagarle y que no me elimine. ¿Dónde está mi invalidación? Aquí abajo. Mi invalidación está en los abajo de 3,000. Un segundo. Low. 3,355.9. Esa sería mi invalidación. Entonces tengo que calcularle que de acá a acá cuál va a ser mi invalidación para poder saber. Es más, lo voy a hacer con ustedes para que entiendan lo que estoy diciendo. Estoy en la línea meme y caigo hasta acá. Estoy hablando de 15%. Con 10X es 150%. Perdería todo. Pero como estoy agregando y promediando, digamos que agregué acá, digamos que la mitad más o menos, por acá en 3,800 es donde estaría mi posición. Y acá lo puedo arreglar, es más. Esto sería un 11%, por lo que todavía caería más. Lo que voy a hacer es poner, en vez de usar un 5X, voy a usar un 10X, voy a poner 33% de mi posición abierta acá en un 10X y 77% de mi posición acá. Y esta va a ser una posición que voy a cerrar literalmente a perder. O sea, toda la posición. Entonces, si quiero apostar $1,000, sé que puedo acabar con 0. ¿Me entienden? Es lo que estaría haciendo en este trade. ¿Cómo sabemos si estamos equivocados y no vamos a ver este movimiento? Bastante fácil. Solamente llévate máximos históricos de una vez. Con que hagas eso, ya chingaste. El pedo es lo alto que está comparado con dónde está el precio acá. Estás como en medio del rango, justamente, para jugar esto. Voy a pensar también en este trade yo personalmente. Igual y no me interesa entrar a menos de que baje a 3,500. En 3,500 entro y puedo ponerme más agresivo. Voy a pensarlo. De todas maneras, yo qué. Acuérdense que Farhan y Alex les van a mandar señales para todos ustedes. No se preocupen, yo no tengo nada que ver con ellas. Para que no se me confundan y se me equivoquen. Así que no tienen que hacerle caso al gran Jim Cramer mexicano, como me dicen. Ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros. Eso es Ethereum. Y con esto, pues voy a cerrar el show de hoy, brother. Vamos a cerrar el show de hoy. Vamos a cerrar el show de hoy, como dicen. Vientos. Pues aquí andamos. Aquí andamos. Muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes por acompañarnos el día de hoy. Muy divertido, bastante sencillo. El mercado no está abierto. Disculpen que la tuvimos que cortar corto, pero ahora sí que nos vamos a ver el miércoles para ver cómo vamos con todo, darle una repasada a Tesla, a Rivian, a todo lo que siempre nos piden, por supuesto, y pues seguir dándole con todo y divirtiéndonos por acá. Pásenla muy bien, diviértanse y cualquier cosa aquí andamos. Voy a ver si al rato me aviento un nadie me preguntó o no. Es que es día festivo, entonces mi mujer también ya hizo planes con toda la familia y la verga. Entonces puede que me la pele. Todo el fin de semana lo he hecho. Y por cierto, mi objetivo final es tener ya un flip phone. Ya no veo mi teléfono nada. Estoy muy orgulloso. Y al mismo tiempo eso causa problemas. Pero también no, ¿cómo se dice? me está volviendo más de haz lo que quieras. Entonces, no es muy bueno para mi horario de nadie me preguntó. Pero quiero hacer ese show y de todas maneras, al rato, en 3 horas más, voy a tener al ganador del sorteo en Salovisa. Se los vengo y se los pongo. Les mando un fuerte abrazo a todos. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros acompañándome. Les mando un abrazo en el nepe. Ay, pero eso